Throughout the ages, these two great clubs have had some fantastic battles. Glenelg and Sturt represent what the SANFL is all about. Guts, determination, pride and glory. But believe it or not, it's been a whopping 37 years since they've met in a premiership decider. Back in 1974, when the paint was still drying at Football Park, the Double Blues won their 11th flag, their third against the Tigers. In more recent times, Mark Micken took the Bays all the way to the minor premiership, but the major one got away. In 2011, Glenelg has a new caretaker coach who's riding his own roller coaster at Brighton Road. Chris Massey will be hoping for a peak today. The trough was last week. The Double Blues don't look like a bottom side, but that's exactly where they are. Coach Luke Norman is just hoping he gets a chance to save Sturt from the wooden spoon. It's much more than a game of chance today. In round 19 of the SANFL, it's Glenelg versus Sturt.
And the Bays, well, hasn't it been an interesting season? Chris Massey taking over from Mark Micken as coach. They are struggling, and yet they still sit fourth on the ladder, and it's likely, very likely, they will play finals footy. The Double Blues, well, they've been stuck at the bottom of the ladder for a while now, and they are dangerously close to slipping from any sort of role in the finals. However, Matty Slade, I think they can really challenge the Bays this afternoon.
I think they will. As Neil said, there's not much in it between, I guess, fourth and even almost down to ninth. So, look, they're a side that'd be disappointed and would expect that they can play better than they have, but nothing's a guarantee for them.
Well, we saw in those opening shots that it's a pretty good day at the Bay here today. We won't need the lights. They needed the lights last night at the parade, and they sort of failed. There was a light bulb in the floodlighting that popped, if you like, exploded. It ended up with the shards of glass coming onto the playing field. There was a delay of somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes in the opening term, and it resulted, Matty, in a 41-minute opening quarter.
Not something you see every game, is it? But yeah, there would have been a few frustrated supporters waiting to get the game back on, I think.
A lot of those supporters frustrated would be standing behind there on Cooper's Hill. So we'll have highlights, including that incident at quarter time, and also how the match unfolded. Norwood in a low-scoring contest. It was a battle against West Adelaide's sturdy defence, but in the end, a 15-point victory for the Redlegs over West Adelaide. It leaves the premiership table looking like this, with Norwood jumping back to the top of the ladder over Centrals. The Eagles in third spot. The Bays, if they're to challenge for that top three spot, you would think they'd need to beat Sturt this afternoon.
They certainly do, and I think at the same time, Sturt would, they're used to a lot more success than they've experienced, and they will be certainly looking to get off the bottom at the same time.
Let's have a look at the full round of fixtures. Glenelg taking on Sturt, of course, this afternoon. And also, we'll keep you up to date with that match between the Eagles and Central District across at the Woodville Oval. And then tomorrow, just the one game, Port Adelaide taking on North Adelaide. And that assumes very interesting proportions, with North Adelaide making possibly a late season push to be part of finals contention. Let's talk about the round 18 loss, though, of the Bays to South Adelaide. They were at home, Glenelg, and they lost badly with an incredibly poor final quarter, 7 goals to zip.
They would be disappointed with that. It's something you might see maybe down at Noongar, but not on their home deck. Especially they're used to playing this small ground, and you know, they've got a lot to play for, so I think they'll be very disappointed with that result.
Yep, they led by 1 point at three-quarter time, gave up 7 goals without reply, and ended up going down by 41 points. Disappointing afternoon for the Tigers. Sturt, we know they played in the second week of round 18, which is the split round. We saw them last week against the Bulldogs. They did compete fairly well, but you had the feeling that the Doggies were always going to win.
Yeah, usually the case. I guess a bit different this time. They're coming from a small home ground, which they're used to. They'd have to change their game plan a little bit to play on such a big deck. Centrals play there very well, so they just got over the top in the end.
In fact, Centrals won all 4 quarters, and they ended up, as you can see, the margin was fairly close, but always the distinct possibility it was going to be in favour of Central District, a 22-point victory. Let's talk about the clashes between Glenelg and Sturt this season. It started in round 1, an incredible match in which the Double Blues, well, they looked sure things at three-quarter time, and they led by 41 points, only to give up 10 goals to 1, and the Bays came storming through.
Not a great start to your season, is it? You'd think they pretty much had the game there, and if it started to turn, you'd play shutdown football, but it certainly set up a bad role for the start of their season.
Huge last quarter, 17 shots at goal for the Bays, and they ended up winning by 19 points. An incredible result. Round 8, more typical, I think, of what we expect this season. It was under lights at the Adelaide Oval, and Sturt, by this stage, their season was starting to decline.
It had. I guess the signs were starting to appear, and although the game wasn't a complete blowout, they certainly had the better of them and a lot more scoring shots if you have a look at that.
Yeah, 57 points the final margin, and as you can see, 25-14 to 16-11, a huge game in terms of the number of goals and the number of shots at goals that both sides had, indicative perhaps that Glenelg's defence hasn't been quite up to scratch this season. Their record at home, as we look at their record against Sturt, is Glenelg this season 4 wins and 4 losses. Yes, indeed. It has been, as we're joined by Sodas on the boundary. Sodas, it has been an interesting run for the Bays this season.
Look, it has. They have been all over the shop, and of course they sacked their coach too and have a new caretaker coach. Before we get to that, though, it has been a very, very big week for the Bays. Of course, they didn't play last weekend because of the split round, but they had a team meeting before training this week. The team meeting started to drag out a little bit, and they went through where they're at and where each of the individual players are at. In fact, the team meeting didn't finish until 9 p.m, which meant they hit the track around about then. The boys were out training till 10:35 p.m. the other night. So if they're looking a little bit tired, that's exactly why. So they're obviously fair dinkum about trying to make sure they finish strongly and get into the finals. Now today, big Trevor Cranston plays game number 150. He's been an absolute workhorse for the Glenelg Footy Club, and at times really acts like another midfielder. He does a lot of the tackling down on the ground. I think across his career, he's laid something like 427 tackles, which is pretty impressive for your ruckman. If you look closely amongst that Glenelg cheer squad, there's even the odd duffel coat, which is great because we haven't seen any of those, certainly in this millennium. So good to see the Bay supporters keeping those out of here. Now, we've got Chris Massey as a caretaker coach. Look, his results have been a little bit mixed, and what the big problem perhaps has been, they've had some good wins, but the big problem's been just a little bit of consistency, and a few quarters have let them down. Probably none worse than their last quarter last game when they conceded 7 goals to South, and Glenelg actually failed to score a goal. Today, the ad's gone into the paper here, the local paper in Adelaide, about wanting the new coach. So the process has started. Chris Massey certainly put his hand up to say he wants to be part of it.
Yeah, it presents its challenges. Obviously, coaching the 18s last year, then coaching the reserves this year, and obviously being given the opportunity and really enjoying it.
3-2, I think, is your result so far. Are you seeing a response from the players that you're expecting?
Yeah, in moments. I mean, there's a fair bit of work to do, obviously. You know, the game against North, the first game was a write-off, really. The game out here against West Adelaide, second term was poor. South, obviously, the last term, Eagles, we had a last term fade-out. And at Port at Alberton, our third term was poor as well, so consistency is a real issue, and that's something we're doing our best to get over, really.
Looking at Glenelg's lineup, the on-ball brigade is probably a bit leaner than it has been in the past. They'll look to get their drive through their back line, looking at players like Mules, Panozzo and McMahon to give them the delivery that they're going to need up forward.
And so does, well, Chris Massey wanted consistency. How about Sturt? They've found that hard to come by as well.
Yeah, it's been a long, long year for the Double Blues. Probably staring the wooden spoon in the face at the moment, which is a terrible place to be if you are at Unley. But right now, we've talked a lot this year about Matty Doldig, and he's played a lone hand up forward, came back to the SANFL, ex-Bay player. He's kicked 47 goals, sitting number 3 on the ladder there for goal kickers in the SANFL. Unfortunately, he jagged his hamstring when he kicked 4 goals against Central last week, so he's going to be missing. Johnny Hinge comes back in the side. Expect Hinge to perhaps line up at full forward and even change with someone like a Jade Sheedy. They've done that in the past and used Jade deep into attack to some sort of success, so expect that move to perhaps happen today. But last week against the Dogs, it was a reasonable effort by the Double Blues.
Yeah, a lot of confidence. You know, get out on the big oval out at Elizabeth, and you know, we were really competitive for 4 quarters, and that's what I asked of the boys, and really took it up to them.
You've played the Bays twice this year and on a smaller oval now again today. How do you get over them?
Yeah, we just got to take them on and look after ourselves and win the contested footy.
Sturt's lineup, as Soda's mentioned, we'll be looking for Hinge to impact against his old side. Very lean up forward. They'll rely on their on-ballers to win stoppages, but also kick goals. Crane, Sheedy, Evans, and so on will be who they'll rely on today.
Okay, so players in position ready for a start to this match, which is critical for Glenelg, and I'm sure the Double Blues will be interested in getting off the bottom of the ladder as well. And for the first time, welcome this afternoon to Michael Maney.
Yes, good to be here, Neil, on a sunny day, and the umpires, good experienced panel there, will adjudicate this afternoon on this game. Sturt will kick to right of screen. And Trevor Cranston in game number 150. Hasn't played too many bad ones for Glenelg. A little bit quiet early in his career, but has been very outstanding in the last couple of years. Be interested to see what happens with that forward structure for Sturt. Matty Doldig with 47 goals. They need to find a different way, and as Mark said, maybe Johnny Hinge. Bit of pushing and shoving, but perfect conditions. You'd love to be out there and strap on a pair of boots and go for it, although I'd last about a minute and a half and pull a hamstring, I reckon. Here we go. Cranston down. Hurley with the tackle, and it'll be another ball up. Rory Kirkby, very important for Glenelg up forward. Kurtz got a backhander down. Sheedy, all done. Just hooked back in by Hurley. That's what's going to happen with the weather today, Mark. You just suntan down there?
I can tell you, Mike, it actually looks pretty nice at the moment. I think we've got a top of 17 predicted. They said perhaps a little bit of showers. It's a bit dark and cloudy at times, but look, the ground's in super nick, and we talked to Matty Slade before the game. This ground used to be a bog about 10 years ago, but now it's come up very nicely. So expecting a reasonable day if the showers stay away.
Plenty of bounce in the middle there too. If you were a quick bowler, you wouldn't mind having a crack at that. Ball out wide, and it'll be another stoppage here. Who's on the bench down there for the Double Blues, Mark? We've got you working overtime at the minute.
Yeah, big Tommy Bartlett, he's come back into the side with the changes. Chad Wingard, the young superstar, and another young superstar, Reg Grundy.
Yes, let's hope he's got him on today. Now, we've got a free in the ruck here, and it's going back off the ball, go to Craig Evans. It's a little chipping ball, finds Thompson. Thompson steers it nicely to Hansen. Good young player in short to the vice-captain in Cabillo, wearing that famous number 7 worn so wonderfully by Brant Chambers for many a season. He doesn't know quite what to do here. He's got to get around a tackle, and then he turns it over. Well done by Douglas with the tackle. Then Kirkby dropped the footy, and it'll be a free kick to Hansen in the middle of the ground.
Hansen looks long. He is a very long kick. Agnew at the front. Cabillo got him. And when Josh Cabillo gets his hands on you, you stay got. Colin Rouston with the ball up. Inside forward 50 for the Double Blues. Evans came through, ducked the head. Umpire said, no, not holding the ball. Didn't know that he did much more than cover up McIntyre, in fact it was. And the ball knocked wide, Ruwalt high. And he'll take a free kick for the base. Back of the corridor. Kane takes off immediately. Wide open forward line. Kirk makes his way well to the ball. Can he get around to get a shot on goal? Bang, he's a long kick. Sets it up for Kirkby. And Anderson did well in front to rush it across the line for the minus score. Sodas.
We talked about some young talent on the Blues bench. Glenelg have that as well. Benny Kennedy, Lockie Neal, and also Gus Lally, who jagged 3 goals in the Tigers' win over Sturt back in round 8.
Thanks, Mark. Ball moves so quickly up and down the field these days. Thompson's got it and about to hoist it inside 50 for the Double Blues, but Rudolph comes across, makes a nice mark, then chips it to Tenace. So Glenelg needs some runners here. Tenace off half back, and he's just waiting for someone to come to him. Kirkby gives him a lead, but there's a 2-on-1 situation. Ball thumped away. Hurley almost taken by Douglas. Just hacked it forward. Here's Trenbarth back to Alex Grimer. Todd not in today. Alex Grimer lines them up. This is what he gets paid for, Alex Grimer, and he's kicked it. That is a very nice finish for Slade.
That was a very impressive kick. Obviously a tough angle, but I guess they probably kicked a few at training, and he knows the spot where to sit it out. But he lined it up and looked very comfortable kicking that one.
Yeah, just young Trenbarth coming out and presenting so well, and then the finish has to be pretty good. And fair to say, not much breeze, so you pretty much kicked through it today.
That's right. Didn't look like it moved a lot through there, but very happy with the result of an early goal, especially in a tight contest, which it has been so far.
Alex Grimer. Good start for the Bays. We saw their break from defence was impressive. Double Blues will get another forward 50 entry, and Hinge comes out and drops a chest mark. A former Bay boy, can you tell? Lays the tackle, McIntyre, then Hurley. Hurley just shunts the ball forward. The ball gets away from a couple of Sturt players and then bounces back into the hands, and then finally the Bays will clear it through Ruwalt. Panozzo flanks him off the left foot, not bad. Douglas, well, he got pushed under the ball. I think it was Lyons, not Douglas. So Kurtz to go against Cranston. Cranston in game 150 accepted as probably the best ruckman midfielder in the game. Ruwalt to Panozzo, that combination working well. Panozzo drops it in short into space. Kirkby half volleyed it. Lyons, good hands. Grimer again. Looks up inside, forward 50. Good, well, floating kick. He put it to the advantage of Trembath, though, who was good enough. Tenace into open goal.
Great pickup. Obviously, you can see the advantage of getting a clean take, and Tenace has worked hard off the back line, followed that up, and got into a great position to kick a goal there. Getting a lot of drive, as Glenelg have done in the past, that they want to really push off their half back line, and it's starting to work already.
It was young Trembath again, just attacking it for the second time. Set up Alex Grimer and then found Kane Tenace on a full burst.
He's done his job so far.
He has. He made a good debut for them a year or so ago, Josh Trembath, and then found himself out of favour in the reserves and spent a lot of time there. And I've always been pretty impressed with what he's done at league level. Back in the centre, so a couple of early goals to the Bays. No real breeze advantage. No one can collect it in the middle of there. All done by Neil. Got it to Panozzo. Panozzo to the outer side where he's got Curran running. Hurley's right there. Brilliantly done by Tambling. Just met it full on. Got it to Wunke. Now Wunke looks at a forward line that's got a couple of leads on offer. One's Plant and he gets into the gap and absolutely spot on. It was a very, very good kick.
That was a pinpoint kick. He's looked up, quickly sized it up, and actually realigned his body so that he hit the kick perfectly. Thompson in a good spot. Is it? Oh, sorry, not
James Plant.
Plant.
Yeah. Well, he can bob up, James Plant. He's every now and then boots 3 or 4 goals out of nowhere, and he just seems to get in the right spot. Let's see if he can finish here. And it's a good kick. So the Double Blues get goal number 1 on the board. And that just stems the tide a bit because the Bays had a pretty good run of the play, and that one's a little bit against it.
Definitely a much-needed goal there by Sturt. Small ground, it is an opportunity to kick a lot of goals because it's only a few kicks away. But, you know, to let a side get a run on early, that would be crucial for them.
So the ball back in the middle, and 7 points the margin in favour of the Bays.
Don't push anyone in.
The best quarter is the opening term. 9 wins, 7 losses this season, which isn't all that impressive if you think about it, considering they're in the top 5. But it's a mark of their inconsistency. Umpire chose not to recall that. Tenace gets away with the centre break. Down to half forward. Tambling goes back, but Kirkby, another contested mark. He takes more than anybody else in the competition. The ball to the front now. Ruwalt. And well done by Cubillo. He stood off him and waited. And now he's almost forced the turnover. Miles went in and with the hip and shoulder, which wasn't effective. And now Hinge, who's found himself up forward and now down back, he's in trouble. And that'll be holding the ball. He just turned into trouble, and Trembath got him.
Probably not the start Hinge would have wanted against his old side. Dropped one up forward, and now he's had an opportunity to probably get rid of that. And even in that situation, you just kick it to the boundary, I think, if nothing else opens.
So Trembath, who kicked 58 goals in the reserves last season, and who goes by, I would say, the unflattering nickname of Bubbles. Comes in from 40 metres, lays back. He's a very good kick. Boy, that was straight. Never looked like missing. 3rd goal for the Bays.
The technique was rock solid. He looked very steady over that and kicked through it. Distance clearly wasn't a problem, but he has made a big impact so early in this game.
Well, he's been part of the first 3, hasn't he?
Can't do much more than that.
The old goal assists, a couple, and Then he finds himself on the end of a free kick here. Just a very nice kicking style too by Trembath, and it went very straight. So a good start to Josh Trembath, and good presenting up forward, and the delivery from the Bays have been pretty good, even though he won a free kick there. Cranston, that's beautifully done down to Tenace. Neal, can he get through? Thought he dropped it. Cabillo got it away to Thompson, and then Hinge, quick kick, and Douglas just sitting behind the play. Well, he's allowed to play on here. So coming back from injury, the Crow goes to Kirk. That's a good lead, and he's away. And he'll straighten on his right. Thought about it, and now he's forced to go to his left. It's a good kick to the square. Oh, huge mark has been taken by Kane. He had his name written all over that. Flew, and it stuck like glue.
It did. I think his eyes lit up on that one. Glenelg really looking to play on at the moment. It seems to be working for him. Maybe turning outside there might not have been the right option, but he's given it a good bit of air, which has enabled them to, or to Kane, to have a good fly at it.
Well, Chris Keane, if you're in the van there, make sure you get that one on tape as Ben Kane pops it through. So the Bays are out to a 19-point lead. And, well, the agility of Daniel Kirk in the end, and a super mark here.
Was under pressure. Left footer. Well, that's a great kick. He's able to hit the top of the square pretty much then, which is, when in doubt, you can't hit a target. Rather than just blaze, that's the spot you'd aim for. So he's actually hit that perfectly.
41 goals between these two sides when they met in round 8. We're on course for something similar at the moment. 4-1 to the Bays. 1 goal straight to the Double Blues. Cranston took Grundy out of there. Now Lyons just flips it out. Back he goes to Curran. And then wide. And they've got runners. Neal just draws the player and sends it for Douglas. Douglas inside half forward. Beautiful kick. Trembath must think it's Christmas.
At this stage, Glenelg's work rate is just far superior at the moment. I think Sturt would have been hoping to win a lot of the stoppages, but that hasn't happened yet.
Cabillo, who's already had 1 centre break, going to the bench for the Double Blues. So Trembath. Question of accuracy here. From his last kick, you'd say there's distance, not a worry. Lays back on the kick, straight over the umpire's hat. 5 goals, 1 to start the afternoon for Glenelg, and 2 to Josh Trembath.
Not the start Sturt would have been looking for, especially to get off the bottom. What do? He's made an impact. Do you change whoever's on Trembath at the moment, or do you just sit and back him with a bit of confidence?
Well, it's probably the delivery, the ball being won through the midfield, and the lack of pressure as you're going forward. And I think that any forward can run into space. I think, and their best #1 clearance player in Cabillo is off the ground now. So it's they just need to sort of get with them, don't they?
True. Yeah, pressure on the kicker.
Good start by the Bays. 6 goals inside the first 12 minutes. So brilliant start to this. Cranston down. He's won most of the taps. Grundy's in the ruck now. Taken by Hurley. Bouncing ball. Curran will get there first. Plant just caught behind. And Curran hoists it high, getting back Tambling. Just a bit strong for Ben Kane. Used the body well. Sat back, and it's against Cranston, a 25-metre penalty for cribbing on the mark. We see so much of that. Only a small price to pay. That looked like 50 to me, Neil. It was a fairly generous 25. Here's Tambling with a real spear. And this time John Hinge doesn't make a mistake. And he gets a real rocket from the boys on Snouts Louts Hill.
Disposal's been pretty impressive early, and Sturt are going to have to rely on that. I think they're going to have to avoid trying to bomb into their 50 line, so it's going to be a lot of leads, and they're going to rely on a lot of accurate disposal to hit those leads up.
Well, he's only kicked a couple of goals this year, John Hinge. He's played mostly as a backman. That's a good kick, steered it through nicely, and they get one back, and they really needed that, did Sturt. And John Hinge has at least been out in front, Matty, hasn't he, and taken that mark, and he could have had a couple of goals.
He could have. And I think he'd be looking to have that impact. So, look, he's getting his hands on it. That's probably the main thing at the moment. Just tidying up a few things, and I'm sure he will have a big impact for Sturt throughout the day.
John Hinge, 75 games in Tigers colours. Also played, of course, some AFL football. In fact, one game of AFL football with the Crows. So it's a 19-point lead for the Tigers, and this time the bounce will be recalled and it'll be thrown up. Great innovation in the SANFL. Taken up by the AFL. Must be good. Kirk with a knockdown and the follow-up, which was too high. The umpire adjudicating Hurley with the free kick. So another centre break for the Double Blues. Plant at the front. Punch came from behind. Well, Curran was uncertain, but eventually was able to clear it. Tenace. Douglas. Oh, questionable hand pass. He put his player under pressure in McMahon. Now they're back inside defensive 50. Mules was good. McMahon's now free on his left leg. Usually very good. Lyons just couldn't pull it in. Eventually he does. Oh, class. And then down to half forward. Well, he missed with the place he was looking to kick it. Anderson couldn't take it for the Double Blues. He's trying to knock it out now, and eventually they'll get it away. Sheedy looking for some support. Hansen. Hansen's a long kick. That one was long and high. Couple of players sitting under it, and coming from behind, Seller takes a nice mark and they're away.
Kirk, just a nice spinning ball to Panozzo. Running in space was Rudolph to his right, but he decides to punch it in short and finds Kennedy. Kennedy, left footer, low, poor kick. Normally uses well. Run by Hansen. He'll use it okay. Does nicely to Hurley. He's about to get nabbed. And he did. Good run down by Lally. Just no awareness there from Hurley. Lally in short. Poor kick. Tambling did well. Bartlett roved it nicely off the pack. Kick smothered. Opportunity. Lally again. Just fed it back. Panozzo. In short. Out wide. Grimer. Well, I think he was concerned about the fence in the end. He had a full burst of speed and then forgot to take the mark, and it'll be a boundary throw-in.
See how crucial the voice is under those circumstances. Someone yelling to tell him he's hot, and now they find the ball closer to Glenelg's 50 than theirs.
Unfortunately, Alex Grimer's sister Holly Grimer has had to retire from national basketball duties due to illness. Here's Bartlett, goes to Crane. Crane finds Hinge, and Hinge, after that early drop, looks like he's smartened up his act.
Maybe a few nerves playing your old side, who knows. But Crane, always a good deliverer of the football, so if he can get his hands on it, all you've got to do is lead to the right spot, and he usually hits you up.
I think he went through the goal-kicking yips last year, John Hinge. I think he had about 3 goals 11 or something at one stage. He was went to the Mark Ruwalt School of Goal-Kicking for a while.
He's slightly better. He's got 3-5 at the moment.
Let's see if he can add another nil. Just get the old Tipex out and we'll work on that one. John Hinge gets his second, and all of a sudden, Sturt, you mentioned the work rate, Matty. It looks like they've really taken that case in point, haven't they?
They have. Obviously, it took them a while to get going, but maybe they've adjusted now and have realised how hard you do need to work to obviously find space on a small ground.
So 17.5 minutes into the opening term, John Hinge gets his second. High-scoring match. 5 goals to 3 at the moment. 13 points. Kirk with a knockdown. Agnew with the clearance. Had a runner in Lally, and then Ben Kane. Kane looks up forward off the side of the boot. Anderson read it early, so did McClay. Now he's got the hand pass out the back foot. Tambling uses the 1-2. Oh, and eventually over the line. The umpire says throw it in. Well, there was a fairly solid case there for the Tiger tackle.
Oh, gee, I don't know how he got rid of that, but and not in the greatest part of the ground for that to happen, but they're probably lucky to get away with that one.
So Grundy to go against Kirkby. And Grundy with a nice palm down. Tenace, though, picked the ball up, released it out the back. Grimer, he's already kicked a goal. Kirkby involved. Squares it up. And Plant intercepts it for the Double Blues. Now, what sort of run have they got from defence? Tambling. Good kick over the top. Punched away nicely. The Bays player doing the job was McMahon, but back they come through Cabillo, the Double Blues. It's not his best effort off the left foot, but it worked out effectively, and Hinge is loose inside 50. If they can get it to him quickly. McIntyre's seen him, and Hinge now is surrounded, and all he did was give away a free kick. Rudolph, and he had some support back there, did Sam Rudolph. But Rudolph was a man who was infringed and will take the free kick for the Bays, and now we'll see what their run's like.
I think he might have just slipped there. McIntyre just cost him an extra second or two, and then Rudolph was able to get back in the contest, so he did pretty well. Curran from halfback. McClay, he's all over Kirkby there. No free kick. And the ball hits the line. What have you made of it so far, Matty? Pretty good game of football.
It has.
Not much flooding, pressing, all that sort of thing. It's been pretty free-flowing, isn't it?
It has been. It's been good, and good conditions. It's going to be quick, fast football, I think, but Glenelg's still dropping that back line up to the centre and trying to create a wall. When Sturt move it fast, they get away with it and can break that line.
Ben Kane kept it low. On the half volley, Kirkby couldn't quite grab it. In goes Agnew. We can tell that because he's got the reddest of red hair. Ruwalt's left footer's very good to Ben Kane, who, apart from taking that absolute screamer, has been quite good through the midfield. His short kick finds a teammate in Tenace. Tenace lace out to Alex Grimer. Brodie Martin couldn't get there, and although he ducked his head just a fraction at the end, he took the mark.
Probably can't be questioned, I guess, if he's ended up with the right result, but a good squaring up kick then. Maybe had a bit too much room to work in. That probably should have been more of a contested mark, but now he's in a great spot to put this side forward a little further forward.
Bit of Matthew Lloyd work with the grass, and not much breeze around for Alex for that grass to float away.
Probably not required.
Here he goes. It's a kick that's fading a bit, but I think it's got it in.
Yeah. As you can see, probably didn't move a hell of a lot. There isn't a lot of breeze going down, but kicking for goal has been pretty accurate. If you look at the scoreboard, with 6-1, 3 zip.
A couple of goals to Alex Grimer now,
yep.
Matty, and then Tenace. Just so good.
He has his skills. He's been involved a lot early, hasn't he?
Actually, Moggy, I'm very interested in Kane Tenace's stats, and there's a couple of others through the midfield that have been fairly dominant for the Bays in terms of possession.
Yeah, well, Tenace has got 7 already, Neil, and we'll look at a couple of others in a sec.
Ben Kane's obviously seen a bit of it, and they've moved it fairly well, the Bays. Kurtz just tripped on his way into the ball. That would have hurt Agnew. Getting crunched into that hard centre wicket area. Out the back he goes. Tenace wide. Not the greatest of kicks. Neil picks it up though. His kick down the line of the left foot was good for Seller. You can see they want to play on. Seller almost run down by Martin, but gets the long kick, 20 from goal. Anderson comes, and so does Nielsen. And Nielsen ends up with it. Oh, he just showed too much of that ball, just with the short chip. Now back on it goes Adlington. And then that's the value of the big ruckman in Cranston, and he got it away, and the Double Blues will be keen to rush this over the line. Interesting, that's a throw. Yeah, well, Richard Douglas was clever to get around the behind post, but in doing so, he tossed it up in the air and then caught it again. Umpire was onto it. Let's have another look at what was skillful work, but still a throw.
That's pretty quick thinking, if nothing else. Well, didn't get away with it. Angus Lally was the man who hooked that ball in just a minute ago with a very good squaring kick. That was one for the highlights package here. Matty, ever had a crack at that?
No, I haven't.
No.
Let's hope they don't lose by points, eh?
Here's Neil. Kane just thrown off the kick. Good defence by Sturt. They need to keep smothering here. Here's Kennedy around the body. Left footer. He's smart. And he finishes off beautifully. And a goal.
Very classy for such a young player, although he's probably been one of their better players over the second half of the season, but just got himself in a good spot to receive, read it well, and a left foot, knew where the goals are. I don't think he even had a look, and split the centre too, so why do you need to?
Ben Kennedy, another product of Sacred Heart College. Been involved with the state under-18 program this season. It's the reason he probably hasn't played more league footy. Classy player. Out to 25 points a game, the Bays. High-scoring opening term. Free-flowing football. And here goes another under-18 player. Wingard, long kick towards the goal face. And it was Martin, or no, it was Sheedy who's gone back down there. And Sheedy just couldn't pull it in before it crossed the line for the minor score. Sturt's first of the afternoon.
Yes, a couple of real class players and left footers too, so they'll be early picks next year, one would imagine.
They certainly will.
Long kick by Panozzo. Ruwalt flew a bit early, and then doing the roving was Seller. That's a bit in reverse. Seller should have been flying. Here's Cabillo. Took the tackler. Well done to Tambling. The quick handball by Thompson over the top to Miles. Miles can kick it, Miles, and McIntyre's getting in back in the square and pumps it through.
If you look at that, really poor checking there by Glenelg. 3 of them have actually run forward to heading towards the top of the 50, and just no one's actually checked what was going on behind him. So he was able to just drop off and get an easy ball. That was more like the Sturt that we've seen when they're going well, where a lot of them set up along the back play and they just run a few handballs and get it in there, which they haven't done a lot of to start with this starting off this game.
Tim McIntyre will be happy with that. His 10th goal of the season, but he's kicked 20 behinds. Not the most reliable of kicks in front of goal.
I wonder he's still playing up there, Neil. He's a good young player, though.
He might be the coach's favourite. So Sturt with another chance for a centre clearance. Couldn't quite get it. Agnew, who's been good for the base, he'll get a free kick this time. It'll be play on advantage not. Umpire decided not enough advantage, or well, not a clear enough advantage. So Brad Agnew with the free kick. We saw him in the highlights of round 1. Kicked the goal that put the Bays in front, having trailed so badly at three-quarter time by 41 points. It's been a much better opening to this match for the Bays. Here's Kane inside 50. He looked for Kirkby. Plant came across. Support from Tambling. Considered. Plant with support. Or he gave it to Kurtz, the big ruckman, and then back to Plant. Got away from Agnew fairly easily. They work it pretty well through Hansen, and finally they've broken it up. And the kick downfield from Bartlett. Long and high, and a mark. McIntyre used the body beautifully to take the mark 45 from goal. Ignores the options inside 50 and says, I think I can make the distance.
That would certainly appear to be the case with him turning his back on play and not even looking for an option. So he's obviously confident. Let's see if he can deliver.
McIntyre from 49 metres. He rides it all the way. He gets good support in the goal square. It's there. Oh, he knew his distance, didn't he, Slatey?
He did. He was very confident there. Wasn't overly convincing on the distance, but it was very accurate, and he obviously had enough in his leg to get the distance too.
I suspect at the 25-minute mark of the final term he might have struggled, but nevertheless, they pull one back again, and it's a 12-point game, and the Double Blues, who really haven't looked like it for patches of this opening term, have nevertheless produced enough goals to be close enough, you'd say.
Good work in the goal square there to allow that ball to go through. Just a couple of straight kicks in it now, so 4 multiple goal scorers in the match so far. So it's been a very entertaining first quarter. Wouldn't you love to see this sort of action continue on for years to come? Here's Wingard. Just tries to get away, does it nicely to Miles, and then Short finds Thompson. Thompson will punch it inside 50. Mules has got to go here. Good body work. Tried to hook it in. Brilliant roving by Kurtz. Can he dribble it through? It bounces away to the right. Almost. Angus Kurtz just needed a good bounce. And it's back to an 11-point margin. And straight in the old budget. There it is. One behind to Angus Kurtz, and he's pretty happy with his work.
Again, reversal of fortune there with McIntyre producing the crumb and Kurtz doing the roving, the big ruckman for the Double Blues. So the Bays now to clear their area. Tambling just couldn't get it. Lyons did. Fed out the hand pass pretty well. Kennedy released it to Curran. Curran looks up long, drops the ball short though. I don't think that was the plan, but Kirk took the mark. So he's got players in the pocket, and again, he knows he's got the distance, Kirk. I think for him, it's a case of accuracy.
I think it is. Smart play too. His player was going to protect him goal side. He's just done the quick double back, which doesn't give a defender a lot of time to switch on and cut that one off. So you would back him in for distance from here. Just accuracy, I guess, is the issue.
Daniel Kirk, who flirted with canoes, decided that he was going to join the AIS team up on the Sunshine Coast, and then decided to come back, and we're both wrong, Slatey. He couldn't make the distance. Trembath swoops on the ball, releases a hand pass to Lyons. Back towards a contested mark by Kirkby. I've already mentioned he's taken more contested marks than any other player in the SANFL, and he stood up strongly in the goal square, and he should be able to kick this one.
And a great place to take a mark too, but very strong hands there. He was able to bring that down very cleanly, and that'll certainly give him a good buffer at quarter time.
So Kirkby with the goal, an answering one for the Tigers, and they lead it by 17 points. And we're well into time on in this opening term. I don't think Michael will have a repeat of what we saw last night at the Bay, where it was a 41-minute opening term.
and 21 seconds to boot, Neil. So good contested marks, lady. Kirkby can do that, can work up and down the ground, can also get back deep and take a catch.
Which is pretty handy, isn't it? Pretty versatile, very important. You've got to cover him at all areas of the forward line.
Josh Cabillo taking a break.
A lot more of the ball for the Bays at this stage, Michael. 90 possessions to 59.
Yeah, and they lead by 17, but the clearance here goes to Sheedy. Bouncing ball. Seller over at Wonky with him. It'll be a ball up. What an entertaining first quarter. 13 goals and good kicking too. 8-1 to 5-2, so not much cross breeze to
and
contend.
Despite dominating possessions inside 50s to 13 each.
Yeah, they'll make the most of it. In goes Craig Evans, and then just got it back in his lap, then kick smothered. Well done by Cranston. Tried to funnel it out. Good play by Thompson. Sold his teammate into all sorts of trouble, and he gets a push. And then a little bit of how do you do. And Tim McIntyre finds himself right on the edge of his distance again from a similar distance that he kicked that first goal. Well,
he's got an excuse for turning his back on play at the moment, but look, an important goal for Sturt, though. It's a much-needed one.
Well, coming up at quarter time, Nord and West Adelaide. All the highlights from Nord Oval last night. A win by 15 points to the Redlegs. Here's McIntyre. Now, the man's gone over the mark. McIntyre's kicked the goal. I don't think it'll matter. It'll be 3 first-quarter goals to Tim McIntyre, and the margin is 11 points. And another good kick by McIntyre, so that's quarter time, Matthew.
It is, and a good game. It's been pretty even. We saw Glenelg have the ascendancy early, but Sturt have done really well to fight back there, and a really important goal there that gives them a little bit of momentum to go in with.
So quarter time at Glenelg Oval. It is the Bays 8-1-49, lead Sturt 6-2-38.
May have talked about that game at the parade last night. Mentioned it was at the Bay. They haven't got lights here at the Bay just yet for night football, but they did have at the parade last night, the game between Norwood and West Adelaide to open round 19, and it opened with a bang. The lights exploding, and they ended up with shards of glass on the ground, and some 10 to 15 minutes of clean-up work was needed. And then finally they got underway in a game that never reached any super heights of class and skill, and it was very low scoring and a real battle. Real sort of scrap that Andy Collins' side West Adelaide has been known for in previous seasons. This season they've been a lot more free-flowing, but not last night.
No, I guess the thing that you can take out of it is that they didn't... it's a crumbling West Adelaide unit at the moment, and they didn't let Norwood completely blow them away. Norwood are used to night football at the parade, so look, it was respectable, but probably not what West wanted, trying to still make a finals play.
So it was just 1 point with Westies in front at quarter time, but then by half time, 3 points was Norwood's advantage. They had 4 goals, or 4 unanswered goals in the third term to set up the victory, and in the end it became a 15-point win. But as I said, the match never really got to any great heights.
Yeah, Norwood, I guess Norwood will probably take that as a bit of disappointment going in. They're looking to, I guess, go in and take the minor premiership with a bit of drive heading into finals. So not a convincing win for Norwood either. They'll probably be looking to improve on that. But yeah, disappointing for Friday night footy. We expect probably a bit of class and a better show.
Cam Shenton providing that ball forward then, and easiest of goals for Matthew Davis. And it was a victory it was a victory of sorts for Norwood. 10 goals, 7 they ended up kicking to West Adelaide, 7 goals, 10. We've actually nearly matched that this afternoon in the opening term of this match here at the Bay. But nevertheless, another victory for Norwood, and the premiership table after last night looks like this, with the Redlegs slipping to the top above Central District, with the Eagles in 3rd place. 3 points then back to the Bays, who must retain, you would guess, some hope of sneaking in for the double chance. Let's have a look at the run home for the top couple of clubs. Norwood, certainly after beating Westies last night, they've got North Adelaide. It shapes as an important game next week before a bye, and then the 2 matches to finish are both top 5 sides at this stage in Centrals and the Panthers.
It is, and it's definitely an advantage finishing as the minor premier and getting that week off. Any niggling injuries you can probably overcome. So very important. They'll be looking to finish with that result.
As we look at Centrals on the run home, and remember, I think especially for Centrals this season, we say it every year I suppose, but top place much more important to them with the number of injuries they've had this season. So they've got the Eagles next Saturday, and they've got the Eagles this afternoon. Then they've got to bye Port Adelaide in the top 5. Norwood, that seems like the crucial match. And then North Adelaide to finish with. North have got a couple of interesting games to finish with too.
A very tough finish for North. A good test for them as well. They're looking to build. But, Centrals, the Norwood game is going to be the tester, because it will be sizing up who they probably expect to be their biggest threat in the finals too.
So that's the run home for the top 2 sides. As I said, the minor premiership perhaps a little more crucial for Centrals than for Norwood, but I'm sure that Nathan Bassett and his Redlegs are very much in hot pursuit of top place. Down to the boundary, and so you've been having a listen to the 2 huddles, but both coaches will probably say they need more defence.
Well, I think so too. I had a good listen to the caretaker there, and Chris Massey. He's very pumped up. He spoke well to his boys. First time we've seen him on ABC TV. He just said to them, look, you're taking the game on beautifully. Just continue to do that. Now, we know Glenelg Footy Club go into 50 more than any team in the competition. I think they average something like 46 a game. Again, they're dominating possession in this match, but they just can't break free. The area he was critical of was just hitting their targets up forward. So the efficiency going into 50, as the stats have told us all year, probably somewhere where Glenelg can improve a touch.
11-point game in favour of the Bays. Here's the stats in the opening term.
You can see that the kicks and the handballs favour Tigers by a bit, and I think that came from the first half of that quarter, where Sturt did fight back, and the second half of that quarter might have told a slightly different story. But it is free-flowing football, and maybe more pressure needs to be on the kicker and we can tell that by how many clean marks were taken inside 50.
So players back on the ground, set for a start in what's been a fascinating game thus far. Here's Michael Maney.
14 goals in the first term, Neil. Very enjoyable SANFL football at its best. You won't see too much better than that first term. Here we go in the second. Kurtz got it down against a quality player in Cranston, but Cranston, who's so good at ground level, ducking the head was Tambling. Evans couldn't quite snare it. Well done by Agnew. Just a high ball. That's against Anderson for reefing Rory Kirkby out of the contest. And Kirkby might get the opportunity here of kicking a very early goal in the second.
Glenelg, first goal in the second quarter. Well, I guess Sturt went in with a little bit of momentum kicking that last one, so Glenelg will want to shut that down pretty quickly, and this goal could probably have an effect on like that.
Rory Kirkby, 32 goals, 22 coming into this game. Birded 1 in the first term. And that was from the 10-yard square, or the 10-metre square. Here he goes. He's just going to make the distances. He might have been touched on fingertips. No. Ooh, talk about knowing your distance. Just got it home.
Right. Kicking from, I reckon, just outside 40, you would have backed him to the distance there, but probably a bit of poor work maybe by Sturt on the line there that probably could have done a bit more to maybe get a fingertip on that and shut that goal down, which, you know, is not the start that they would have wanted in this second quarter. Time the jump probably a little bit early, I think. It's coming down as the ball was coming in.
Big Angus Kurtz, who's now back in the middle to take on Trevor Cranston.
Nothing stupid.
Finally, we get the ball down. Could have been called as a recall bounce, if you like. Glenelg clear it away. Another centre clearance, their 10th of the game. McMahon down to half forward. Kirkby again leading out, 60 from goal. And inside half forward, Trembath provides the lead. It doesn't get that far. Poor kick. Turnover. Anderson, Hurley, and now Sheedy and Tambling involved. Tambling the outlet player, who he ran a long way, bounced the ball. Agnew got him, released it. Douglas, inside he goes, and then McMahon. He almost carried to Kirkby, who just got a hand in there, I think, at the right time. He had a call for a free kick. The umpire circling, he lets it go. And finally, it's cleared away by the Double Blues. They were probably lucky to get out of that one.
No question about that. Evans from half-back, in short to Miles. It's the young player who's really finding his feet at this level, Sam Miles. In short to Cabillo. Made some footy at North Adelaide. Got it on very quickly. McIntyre, slipped away and goes check side, and that's a wonderful play. Well, that's one of the goals of the year for sure. Well, he was allowed to run free. They didn't go to him, and McIntyre, he booted 3 in the first quarter, and he's got 1 in this for 4. This is an amazing bit of play. Talk us through it, Matty.
Well, it looks like a bit of loose checking, doesn't it? Oh, he's actually fake. I guess the fake's probably thrown him out a bit there, but geez, there couldn't have been much angle on that. And he actually, I think he's lined it up on his foot pretty well there to go the check sider, under pressure too. So not an easy skill to produce.
Glenelg 9-1-55 to Sturt 7-2-44. So, well, they're staying in it. There's the old scoreboard. Don't you love the old classic scoreboards? Brilliant stuff.
That's it. No technology there.
Amazing goal from McIntyre. He's having a day out. We saw Matty Doldig, the former Bays player, playing for the Double Blues this season, kick, 5 goals in the opening quarter of a match at Unley. So here's McIntyre. His response is 4 goals to early in the second term. The ball held up inside the larger of the 2 centre circles. Kurtz and Cranston, who get a work out this afternoon, will Angus Kurtz. Cleared away by Cabillo. Bounce was good for Miles. Hand pass. Oh, brilliantly done by Evans. Gathered in the handball, which was slightly astray from Plant, but his kick wasn't great. Craig Evans kicking the minus score. So 9 goals, 155. Plays Sturt 7 goals, 345. A 10-point game.
Good fast passage of play there. Cabillo getting quite a bit of hands on the first footy around there. He's been pretty important for Sturt at the moment.
Mules goes short, and so often that little short kick is allowed by most teams. Told to play on now, has to hoist it pretty high. Wonky couldn't complete the mark, funneled out the back, ends up with Sheedy. Got it from Evans and then back again to Nielsen. Nielsen goes inside 50, up they fly. Ruwalt came in from the side. Plant held his ground for Sturt. In they go. And ball's locked underneath. The umpire will call for it.
I think they give that first kick away, don't they? So they can know exactly which side the ball's going to come down and adjust all their defenders. So probably not so bad for the defending side to let that kick go.
Bit of party trick work by James Plant in there. Agnew thought he was held without it. Mules over the top. Straight to the lap of Crane. Now Crane does the old 360. Then tries to find Thompson. Couldn't get on the end of it. Cranston. Then got it back to Panozzo. So this Glenelg defence working overtime, and just a nice little chipping ball finds Mules. And Mules from half-back will relieve for the base.
Had a half a case for a 25 then, with Miles tackling him as he took it. Kirkby dropped the mark meanwhile. Crane, short hand pass. Anderson was good. They go back so they can go forward. Finally, it's off the left foot. Cabillo. Oh, and a big leap. And the umpire says that's okay. It was taken by Thompson. He's not the greatest of kicks, so he releases to Plant, and Plant misses from 10 metres out.
They've got to be disappointed with that. A great mark by Thompson there as well, and probably smart to turn around and quickly size that one up and make it a certainty, which it wasn't. Did he hit his knee?
Just shanked it off the outside of the foot. So the former Bay player, no doubt they will be very happy at the Bay that he missed that one.
This one for the Christmas tape. That's really funny. Here's Panozzo, tries to get through. McIntyre. In they go, pouring in after it is Hurley. And he won't be rewarded with a free kick, but he had a fierce attempt at the football, Tom Hurley. Good to see him back in the league side. I think had a knee reconstruction. Played in the South Australian under-18s going back a couple of years. Tom Hurley.
Same year. He was captain of the under-18s, the same year as some guy by the name of Bryce Gibbs was picked up.
Never heard of him. Bryce Gibbs. What, did he end up being a player at all now? Here's an opportunity for McMahon. Kick was smothered. Neil did pretty well. So good defensive forward pressure by Sturt. The high kick. No one can mark. Nielsen's there. Backs off. In fact, it's Anderson. Got it to Bartlett. Good tackling. Little too high, though. The umpire was only a couple of metres from that. And Bartlett gets the free.
Nobody behind him, so the Bays have crowded defensively, or the Double Blues have thrown everybody forward. Kurtz from the side, 1, 2, 3 grabs. Umpire will pay it. So Kurtz, you'd think, is beyond the distance of the ruckman. He's 45 metres out, the player on the mark.
He looks like he's backing himself in, and he'll steady up. As mentioned, yeah, the Sturt's forward line pressure has been what's keeping the ball in their 50, but Glenelg just looked panicky trying to bring it out of their 50 at the same time.
Kurtz with a wobbly helicopter that just finds its way through. Unbelievable result.
Ugly kick,
and
but
we've
effective
now
there.
Absolutely got a 3-point game.
He obviously thought distance wasn't going to be a problem, just maybe the drop on the foot there, but the main thing is he lined himself up, and although it looked ordinary, it actually come off very straight.
You might go across to James Plant and say, mate, if you're going to kick it off the outside of the boot, that's how you do it.
Exactly, that's how you kick him. Yeah. James Plant, I mean,
I think he'll be kicking himself all night, won't he?
What a biggest sitter. He'll probably miss. Quite unbelievable. And before you know it, Sturt are within 3 points and now going forward through Sheedy. Hoists it high, and coming out and taking the mark was Curran. Well, Glenelg skipped away early. Sturt have fought back. Panozzo got a shepherd off the ball from Tenace, so a nice run, and then let himself down with a kick. Tambling flicked it to Sheedy. Sheedy with a good kick finds Hurley. What's he got up forward? Hurley just looks for Hinge to come. 3 deep, can't take the mark. Got it to ground. Curran did pretty well, got a push. And he will take the free kick. It's been all right for them back there. Curran to Jordan McMahon, wearing number 8, and his boyhood idol was John Fidge, and that's why he wears number 8. Jordan McMahon, one of the top possession winners in the competition this year. Ruwalt goes looking for Adlington. Umpire said play on. Kirk over the footy, can't release, gets caught, and finally it comes out. Lions down the line, bouncing ball. Getting there is Trembath. Now, what's he got in front of him? Decides to kick it to the advantage of Grimer. Now, Grimer v. Tambling. This will be interesting. Tambling's got him. Brilliant defensive work by Tambling, and then wants to play on. That is inspiring stuff.
Oh, now he's in trouble because he's looked up and there's nothing much available. He was good enough to draw the player and put it to the path of Hinge. Hinge down the line with his kick. Looking for a bit of space, and possibly McIntyre. He doesn't get either. Douglas, precise kick back defensively to find Ruwalt. Ruwalt wasn't the greatest of McMahon. He was good enough to pick it up. Ruwalt went on pretty nicely. Now he's in trouble as well. Not much down the line available. He bought some time and then kicked it out on the full. And that's Mark Ruwalt all over.
It's the pressure on the disposal that's just breaking down as they're heading towards centre for Glenelg. It's really starting to cost them, and their forwards are getting zero supply.
Cabillo unloaded. He was always going to be challenged by that distance, Josh Cabillo. Now that looked like throwing the ball. Still the umpire calls play on. Grundy tried to release it. McMahon was in there as well, and finally Sheedy, who tried to take the mark in the goal square. And eventually the umpire will come in and relieve him of the ball and throw it up in the forward pocket for the Double Blues, just 20 metres around from goal.
What can come out of this piece of play? Maybe a little snapshot that'll put the Double Blues in front. Kirk in the ruck against Kurtz. Neil couldn't grab it. Kurtz released the arms beautifully. And, oh, there's a high tackle. And it'll be a free kick to Crane. I think he ducked his head. You're a little You're a little mouse too yourself, Matty Slade. That was there all the way?
Oh, I think we definitely had a chance to get rid of it too, and you know they're not so lenient after that. But I think he has ducked it here, expecting it. Probably very lucky. I think he's still got him under the arm. But look, he's a good kick for goal. He's a great kick here, and he is good around the forward line, but not on that occasion.
Yeah, well, you burnt him to pieces. Look at him. There's smoke flying off him. He's pushed it away. And now it's a 2-point margin. So Luke Crane had an opportunity to put the Double Blues in front for the first time today. He couldn't quite get it there.
Footy gods are around the place, ducking the head. Maybe it was a case for not giving him the free kick, so he misses the goal. Mules obviously disappointed about the options available. Finally called to play on, and he kicks it wide. Kurtz comes from 3 deep. It slips over the back. Kirkby makes something of it. Now Douglas. Oh, he's caught. Did he get one high? Umpire said yes. Richie Douglas will take the free kick. Not a bad inclusion for the Bays, coming back from injury from the Crows, where last year he won the best and fairest.
Pretty fair cricketer too, Richard Douglas, apparently. Very good, talented cricketer in Victoria. So
I'm sure the Bays, who are known as the Seahorses in cricket, would love to see him out. Curran dropped the ball. Again, good pressure from the Double Blues. Cabillo released Crane. Quick onto the boot. He had a player loose in Thompson. He couldn't get it there. Chance for Mules. His hand pass into space found Panozzo fortuitously. Now the Double Blues crowd in again, and they're rewarded. Or are they? With a bounce or maybe a free kick? It'll be a bounce. Just outside their forward 50 in the game. They were shut down, the Bays, trying to come out of defence.
They're hot on it, aren't they, Sturt up there? I think this quarter we've seen pretty quiet last quarter from Crane and Sheedy. They're starting to get their hands on it, which is certainly going to help Sturt out.
Taken by Douglas, hooked it around the corner. Might be okay to Kennedy, couldn't take the mark. Martin was there, brilliant last week, but hasn't had much of it. Hinge, bouncing ball, Kurtz, lovely knock on. Flicks over the back though to Rudolph, and they've got a couple of players in here in Grimer. Grimer can't quite get there, but then got the rub of the green against Anderson, and now we can take off. The racehorse Grimer decides to pump it long. Did he look? Grundy got back. And Trembar says, well, not the best delivery. And the kick out the back, taken by Anderson. Then away to Martin. That's a poor kick. Well done by Grimer. They roll over the football. Tenacious over there. It'll be another ball up. So perfect opportunity for Alex Grimer there.
Oh, yeah, he did. Unfortunate on the disposal, but a bit of speed obviously runs in that family, doesn't it?
James Wonke waiting to come on and play his part. Evans just cleared it away for the Double Blues. Plant tried to gather it in whilst holding off an opponent. Now Douglas flips it out the back. McMahon and Lyons looks up. Nothing much available. This kick wasn't good. Had to be good. It wasn't. Hinge the other way. McIntyre says quick over the back. Curran was good enough to read it first though. And the Bays will get some clearance here. He goes back to Panozzo. Well, they won't be able to come back out this side easily. Panozzo decides I'll do it anyway. Drops it in short. Ben Kane. So Kane started well. I haven't seen much of him in this term. The captain Mules available. So Mules looks and waits and directs traffic, and eventually Grimer goes there, and then he sits the ball up, and Grimer can't mark it. Bartlett does. Double Blues now looking to come back the other way, but they've been forced to halt and wait.
Well, they've burnt the footy, both teams, in the last couple of minutes. Wingard flicked it nicely to Thompson. Thompson and McIntyre on the lead in front of Curran this time. That's been a good duel between those two, and McIntyre's booted 4 goals, though, so I don't know that Curran's been on him 100% of the time. But McIntyre kicked a wonderful running check side goal, which is very difficult to do.
Does that mean he'll look at this one and think it's relatively easy? Or?
Yeah, probably. Get a little bit ahead of himself, maybe.
Well, he's going to have a shot nonetheless.
This is Sturt's 15th inside 50 this quarter in just 16 minutes.
Well, he's plonked it.
Why wouldn't you?
And he's up and about, Tim McIntyre. He's bulletproof today. Double Blues fans like it because they've hit the lead.
Yeah, maybe he struggles kicking them straight out in front, so if you can kick them like that, why not lead wide? Lead wide, sorry.
Well, he's kicked, what, 3 from 45 metres, and he's kicked 1 from a check side on the boundary, being run down and pushed at the same time. So, yeah, as Michael said, he's bulletproof this afternoon. There's Tim McIntyre. And for the first time this afternoon, the double blues are in front. What an amazing turnaround. They led by as much as 25 points, the Bays, and they've been run down. So Grundy opposed to Cranston, and the young man just taps it forward. Thompson, we know how good he is at clearance work. He was involved in the play twice then, and then Hurley just scrambles the ball forward. Curran knocked it to Agnew and then followed up. Wonder about that hand pass, by the way. Curran was Scraig just as he kicked it. The distance was just enough to find Kane. Support through the middle from Tenace, and then Tenace drops it up for Kennedy. That's the second time he's dropped one like that this afternoon. He's quick back to his feet and on the left leg, and a beautiful pass for Trembath.
Great delivery there. Controlled, he's under a bit of pressure, but still didn't panic and sized up the option. Trembath, I think he'd be disappointed this quarter that he was on fire and just hasn't had the opportunities that he did in the first quarter. So I think he's going to have to take what he can get at the moment.
For Trembath, again, based on pass kicks, this won't be a problem. Just be a matter of accuracy. This to put the Bays back in front. And he's done it. He was immediately with a fist pump. He was pretty happy with the kick, and so he should be.
Once again, a very good kick. Just Glenelg's disposal coming forward, which has probably affected or taken him out of the game to a degree. So, look, if they can clean up their disposal and get more down to him, then they're certainly going to keep the scoreboard ticking over.
3 goals to Josh Trembath. It's just a very good kicking style. But some brilliant kicking today. 19 goals, 6 in the match. So it's been outstanding. I suppose if you could kick straight on a day like today with no breeze.
That's true. The centre line, I mean, the stoppage is set up for a shootout, though, with both sides setting up a defensive triangle there.
So Glenelg get the lead back, and then a wonderful knockdown to Tenace. Lyons is running into space. Doesn't take the mark. Got to wheel around to the right boot. Then Tenace again. He's got to hit up a target. Kennedy was short. He went a bit longer looking for Trembath and just bounced in front. Couldn't get a swipe at it. Anderson to Tambling. Evans always turns on that left boot. Hinge is the target. Rudolph did well. And then Hinge back over the footy. And then Rudolph gives away what has to be said is pretty soft free kick. Hinge, well, got too close to the man on the mark, Mules. And then a free kick against Tambling for a front-on charge. And it's Rudolph. Used to have the dreadlocks at one stage, Sammy Rudolph, but he's gone conservative at the moment. Mark Ruwalt in and out of the side this year, and a lot in the reserves. And Neal's got it on the wing.
Lachie Neale just looking up at a line of forwards who don't seem to be moving a lot, so he decides to just whack it long. Punch came from the double blues, and they rove it through Anderson and then Sheedy, and Sheedy releases to McIntyre. This one will bounce up because everything's going his way. Sure enough, that's exactly what it does. Great pass down to Thompson. He's on centre wing, and he drops it over the top. Wonderful running by Miles. He's usually a long kick. This time he was a very accurate kick, looking for Grundy. In the square, they've got a couple. Tambling is the one who takes it, and they're back in front, the double blues.
That is just hard running by Sturt's midfield there, where they were pushing hard forward, and Glenelg players just basically conceded the chase and just couldn't go with them, which created so much space forward. You can see how important it is to be, one, a hard runner, run through a bit of pain, but to be obviously very fit.
Hasn't kicked the goal for Sturt in his career, Richard Tambling. He has now. And did pretty well there. His aerobic fitness, obviously, as you said, Matty, very, very good. And Sammy Rudolph had his locks cut off for charity last year, so I don't know that I'd be prepared to pay too much for it. Ian Mogridge, you got something for us?
Yeah, just Richard Tambling and Adam Thompson, the top ball getters for Sturt today, both with 11 at this stage.
Thanks, Ian. Well, the double blues back in front. Well done by Hurley. Wonky got it to ground. Ends up with Plant. Got it from Hansen. Flicks out the back. Hurley again. Just jammed it on the boot. Curran and McIntyre. Oh, just fell in his lap. Can he finish? Oh, couldn't quite do it. Grundy did pretty well and dives on the footy again. Brody Grundy got it to Tenace. Now, Tenace has kicked it out of bounds deliberately, and the umpire said, no, we'll ball it in.
Pretty stiff there, picking him for that. I think he was under intense heat. Probably give him the benefit of the doubt.
I reckon if he was playing for Carlton or one of those sides in the AFL, no mercy.
No good.
A lot of players around this footy. Yeah, it'll be another ball up. So what an entertaining match. 20 goals and we haven't reached half time. We've just ticked a couple of minutes into time.
A chance for the double blues. One kick. Hand to the ball. Seller cleared it though. Oh, and fortuitously landed with Kirkby. Kirkby just waits because they crowded back defensively at the bays. Puts it into the path of Kane. He couldn't take it. Kirk. Dive back over the ball. McMahon, Lally. Then back all the way they go to Kirkby. Crowded in over the ball. Well tackled in the end. They laid off so they didn't get him high. And Miles at least holds the ball up along with Martin. We'll get the ball up. Just across at Woodville. Eagles leading Centrals by 13 points. Important match for the Eagles. Would shore up their chances of the double chance. Here's Lally for the Bays. Again, the kick forward just more in hope, and it worked, and then they get 25 for Kane. Martin just coming over the mark. 25, which is rather long, 25, and off the ball. Cabillo has been involved in an incident off the ball, and he put one of the youngsters down from the Bays in Neil. So we'll keep an eye on that as they go forward, and they take a mark in the goal square. And there might be some repercussions from that behind the play, with Kirk taking the mark in the goal square. Josh Cabillo being spoken to by Lockie Neal. He's not happy at what happened off the ball.
Kirk, clearly it's an advantage when you can have a big bloke up forward and just bomb the foot. He had two on him then, and he was just too tall that they couldn't hit an arm or bring it to ground. So, you know, a great spot to be taking a kick from here.
Lockie Neal, meanwhile, will come to the bench, I think, have his jaw checked. And certainly there's a couple of trainers want him to, as Kirk kicks the goal. And it's in the seesawing contest. It is the Bays back in front.
There's no real advantage either end. Just, I guess, a lot of pressure up forward from Sturt early in the quarter and some poor kicking from Glenelg, but now it's starting to balance out, I think. So I guess the harder working side and the cleaner, skilled side probably gets the better result.
Well, I don't know that I came here expecting a shootout. They had one in round one. I think I think it was a 47-point deficit, wasn't it, in round one, Neil? And then
it was 41 points at three-quarter time.
41,
Sturt kicked the first goal of the last quarter, and the Bays responded with 10.
Yes.
I wonder if they've let that one go yet.
No, we haven't. Taken by Capillo, who hooks it inside 50, and Wonky couldn't get to the contest before Mules placed his body in front, and then to the running Rudolph. That kick was touched off the boot. Lockie Neal seems to be okay now. Rudolph's got to get round Wingard, who jarred the ball loose, and then Neal peeled the kick off beautifully to Kane. Running is Tenace. Tenace looks to Kirk, and he takes the mark. And Daniel Kirk, after kicking a goal just a moment ago, might be just on the edge of his distance here. He's taking a good long run up. That's a beautiful pass.
I think he's got about a 60-metre run up here. Does that get you a bigger kick? I guess we're about to find out, because he's going to have a shot.
I don't know why they're throwing the grass in the air, these guys, today. Although Matthew Lloyd used to do it under the roof at Docklands. Daniel Kirk. It's the 10 goals this year. From just outside 50. He's given it a wild ride, and he's got it home. And the Bays are out by 8. Good kick.
Yeah, important goal, good kick. Interesting run up, but you can't question it there. I think the first 25 metres is just walking, and then he gets into a slight couple of step jog, and a good penetration on the kick and very accurate. Important goal for Glenelg.
A few concerns down here for the double blues on the bench here. Benny Hanson's had some issues with a knock to his leg. He's had that strapped up. He's gone back out and had another crack during this second term, but he's had to come off again. He's with the trainers now. He looks that tentative that it could be just about the game for him now.
Double Blues coming back from 25 points down. to lead this contest a couple of times in this quarter, and now they find themselves down by 8 points close to half-time. Cabillo out of the middle. Then Martin. Then over the top for Crane. Evans. One too many handballs, maybe. No, they've got it away again. Martin in space. He's gone for the 1-2. Hinge, and Hinge has gone back to Nielsen. Nielsen inside out with a kick, just pops it up in the air, and the mark was taken defensively by Rudolph. As it turns out, it didn't matter. Siren sounds for half-time. What an entertaining contest it's been. And at half-time, it's the Bays by 8 points. 12 goals won. Excellent kicking. Plays Sturt 10 goals 5.
I think what we saw in that quarter was just an intense forward line pressure from Sturt, and maybe a bit of poor disposal by Glenelg, which got Sturt back in. That probably dropped away a bit late in the quarter, and Glenelg's disposal certainly cleaned up a lot, and it's given them a nice little lead. But you can see how important accurate kicking is for a side as they go in with a slight advantage leading into the third quarter.
So half-time here at the Bay, and it's the home team that has, as we said, a slight advantage. 8 points the margin in a high-scoring first half.
On the Margaret Footy Show, live on ABC2.
I'm expecting a big effort.
There was a number of balls going on during that game.
You got the old school jumper on there. You looks like you've had the dream for a really long time.
Yeah, I have, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's no coincidence since you've been on Margaret, brother, you've been flying.
I'm going to come and watch this game.
There's tennis tips, footy yarns, all the teams and match previews.
Don't miss it. It's Margaret.
Every Thursday night at 7:30 on ABC2 for those with the digital channel. And this week, Chris Johnson, the former Brisbane Lions premiership player, Aaron Edwards from North Melbourne, and Rexy Hunt, who, believe it or not, did start his career a long time ago on the ABC calling VFA football. That's on the Margaret Footy Show, Thursday nights, 7:30 on ABC2. Well, now we're going to have a look at the under-18s from last week. It was the last match of course, the split round, Centrals against Sturt.
Round 18 started a fortnight ago at the Alberton Oval, where despite the best efforts of Norwood's James Aish, Port Adelaide got over the Redlegs by 24 points. The win put the Magpies top of the table, but they only expected to stay there until later in the afternoon when the Tigers visited the Noarlunga Oval. When top meets bottom, the result is usually entirely predictable. But with the Panthers coming off a strong performance against Norwood and Glenelg suffering losses to the reserves, college football and injury, it was Jason Tawney's under-18s who went home smiling after just their second win of the season, both of which were against last year's grand finalists. They're still grinning down south. The evening fixture to round out July was at the Richmond Oval, where West Adelaide notched up win number 4 for 2011 when they accounted for the Roosters by 29 points. It was a chance for 16-year-old Nick Favretto from the Goodwood Football Club to show off his style. The win saw the Bloods leapfrog the Bulldogs into 7th place on the ladder. But the Dogs would have to wait a week for the chance to snatch that place back because the split round concluded last Saturday at the Unley Oval. Sturt entered this round level on points with Norwood, but just 0.03% behind. That 0.03% was equivalent to just 2 behinds on the field of play, so a win by even the narrowest of margins would almost guarantee the Double Blues third place, and at this end of the season, third is a big prize to fight for. Last time these two teams met back in round 6, just 2 points separated them on the ladder. At three-quarter time at the Elizabeth Oval, the home side was up by 2 goals, but a 7-1 final quarter blitz saw the Double Blues take full points on that day. There's been a lot of water under the bridge since round 6, with a hefty 12 points now separating these teams at the start of play. And in round 18, it was all Sturt. The Double Blues looked very much like a finals team last Saturday. The only consolation for the Dogs was that with just 3 goals 7 for the match, at least they outscored the Power. But we won't go there. For the 4th time this season, the son of Sturt legend John Painter was voted best on ground. Will had a good run in the reserves through June and July, but the under-18s were glad to have him back in this team. Will notched up a very impressive 42 disposals in this match to take his season tally past the 300 mark. 338 disposals to be exact, at a very healthy average of just over 28 per match. And while we're looking at stats, Will's 27 kicks for the match took his season tally to 224. These are impressive numbers by any standard, and Sturt will certainly be needing Will Pater come September. And they'll also be needing Adam Shearwood. Adam's been chasing North Adelaide's Michael McMahon for the honour of 2011 leading goal scorer, but he's not likely to catch him. Adam is still 15 goals behind, but 4 goals in round 18 didn't hurt his cause at all. Adam still holds the record for the most disposals in an under-18 match back in round 12. 46 possessions on that day in June and another 34 today. And leading the scoring for Sturt and setting a personal goal-scoring record for himself was Ben Gogol. Ben first got noticed in the River Murray Football League, playing alongside names like Levi Krause and Chad Wingard. There's no doubt Sturt's zone has fostered some pretty decent talent over the years. The league side might be struggling lately, but the future looks bright if this team is any indication. Ben Gogol's 6 goals against the Bulldogs, all the result of hard work. Not one of them was from a free kick. Well done, Ben. Also celebrating on Saturday was MVP for round 18, Tim Buccanello. Tim was recognised for his work at the centre clearances and around the stoppages. 12 tackles will testify to that. The Dogs also recognised Tim's work around the ball, and they kept him closely checked all day. That presented no problem though for Tim. 26 possessions and a goal in the final term, giving Sturt its 3rd MVP award for the year. The Bulldogs' 3 goals came from Ben Lauby, Ray McConnell and Jared Coffey, the son of former Central leading goal kicker and last year's under-18 coach Grant Coffey. But just 1 goal each for the Doggies trio, a long way short of Sturt's 20 goals 18. This win did more than take the Double Blues into 3rd place. They're now just 2 points shy of the top place. And that means an entertaining end to the minor round and sets up the finals to be a thrilling contest. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. In round 18, it was Sturt by 113 points over Central District.
So there's a full round of round 18, which was spread over a couple of weeks, with Port Adelaide by 34 points over Norwood way back whenever that was. And then the Panthers over the Bays by 11 points, Westies by 29, and last weekend, absolute thrashing dealt out to Central District. We don't say that too often. Well, certainly not at league level. Sturt won by 113 points. Quickly through the premiership table with Port and Glenelg. Traditional as it's become in under-18s to have them up the top of the ladder. Sturt, Norwood and North filling out the top 5. The Eagles are just outside the top 5, and Westies, Centrals and the Panthers would no doubt be looking forward to next season in the under-18 competition. Well, we turn to the senior competition across Australia. It is the business end of the season. Let's start with our look at the WAFL.
Perth had dominated recent clashes against the 5th place Subiaco, and it appeared early that history might be repeating.
Goes to Horton from the front edge of the centre square. Towering kick, this is going to have the legs. Great start by the Demons.
Subiaco making some unusual errors as the Demons' confidence grew, kicking the opening 6 goals of the match. Wake Broadhurst coming up with the Lions first ahead of quarter time, but they still trail by 30 points. The Demons continued on their merry way in the second, Matthew Moody combining with Sandover medalist Ross Young, while Joel Horton added his second on his non-preferred foot.
A snap from Horton from just inside 50. He gets his second goal. And the Demons seem to have all of the answers.
Subiaco turned to their most experienced man, and Ali Pickett in his 200th game didn't let them down, dragging his side back within 24 points at half-time. Docker Jack Anthony was ruled out of the game in the 3rd term with a neck injury, but still the home side continued to make a charge as Carl Horsley snapped his second. The Demons unlucky not to immediately respond as the goal umpire denied Joel Leeson, while Pickett was again involved as Subiaco narrowed the margin to 17 points heading into the last.
Pickett at the drop of it does well, breaks free, hand pass back to Cocky, shooting on goal, Cocky kicks it, and they've been able to kick 5 of the past 6 goals of the game.
It was all up for grabs in the final term, with Pickett somehow finding space and converting with a floater for his second as the Demons came to a grinding halt.
He's got a man on top of the square. That's Broadhurst. The Lions are in front.
Broadhurst booting his second for the quarter and 3rd for the match as the milestone man finished in style.
Pickett can amble in, kick the last goal of the game, and how fitting is that?
Subiaco with 11 of the last 13 goals of the game to win by 14 points and move back inside the top 4. Broadhurst and 38-year-old Pickett both kicking 3, while the Demons shared the goals around. In the only other game for the weekend, South Fremantle handed top of the table West Perth consecutive losses, winning by 25 as Ash Hams booted 4. To the ladder, and the Falcons remain a game clear on top despite the loss, from Claremont, South Fremantle and Subiaco making up the top 4. The Sharks are just outside from Perth, with the Royals, Thunder and Swans all battling to avoid the wooden spoon. With a top 4 spot on the line, Werribee brought out their highest profile supporter for the round 19 clash with Bendigo. And the Prime Minister and Tigers patron would have liked what she saw early. A late major to Jared Mather, giving the home side the lead at the first change. They tried to flex their muscles early in the second, but the Bombers were up for the challenge as they took the lead through Tory Dixon. 3 in a row to the Tigers saw them take it back before some magic from Matt Little, and Nathan Lovett-Murray lifted the visitors.
It's all volleyed off the goal. Lovett-Murray. There was Bolton Wanderers all over again.
Werribee capitalising on some poor skills from the visitors to take a 16-point lead into the half. Robbie Costello wasn't happy when he failed to convert early in the third, and it was compounded when the Bombers got the job done at the other end. The visitors unable to miss as they slammed on 4 to hit the front.
Dixon, he has. He's put the Bombers in front.
Bodies flying and tempers fraying as Bendigo led by 3 points with a quarter to play. It was an incredible final term as first the Tigers took control, only to see the Bombers hit back with 2 of their own to regain the advantage.
Matt Little, from a tight angle, puts Bendigo back in front halfway through the last quarter.
Enter Majak Dor with a case of deja vu from earlier in the season.
This is poetry in motion. He's already done it once this year, and he's done it again.
The Tigers hanging on to win in front of a thrilled home crowd. Ben McKinley outstanding to boot 5 for the Tigers, while Ariel Steinberg was the pick of the Bombers with 4. In other games, Geelong were too good for Collingwood. Coburg went down to the Hawks. Casey beat Sandringham to the tune of 61 points. Frankston were no match for Port, and 3 teams had the week off. To the ladder, and Port are well clear of Williamstown, with the Roosters and Tigers making up the 4. Casey, the Bull Ants, Bendigo and Box Hill make up the 8, with the Cats and Sandy a game outside, while Collingwood, Coburg and the Dolphins are all playing out time. Shocking conditions face North Hobart and Lauderdale in the second half of the split round 15. Hayden Smith painted up for battle as the Demons took the early lead through a soft free. Both teams struggled to handle the greasy ball before Caden Wilson got the home side some more breathing space.
Caden Wilson, and a couple of goals early to the North Hobart Demons.
Lauderdale their own worst enemy as they trailed by 21 at the end of the first. Oliver DiVenuto made a mockery of the slippery conditions in the second.
DiVenuto swing onto his left, he'll bend around the corner and kicks a beauty.
The Bombers continuing to shoot themselves in the foot up forward and costing themselves at the other end with some horrible mistakes. Paul Hudson marking strongly to kick his team's first major and see them within 29 at the half. It was a dour third quarter as the game resembled a rolling maul. The Demons taking their turn to miss their chances as a controversial 50 at the other end shocked the North Hobart defence and handed Alex Heavey the only goal of the term. If the Bombers were to spend force at the start of the last, they were shortly after as the Demons took complete control.
Bangs it long, makes light of the condition. Terrific mark. Zeke Gardam.
3 quick goals killing the contest as the visitors tried to gain some respectability late in the term before Zeke Gardam signed off with a party trick to rubber stamp a big win. Gardam the best for North Hobart with 3 goals, while Lauderdale finished without a multiple goal scorer. Only one other game to round out the split round, the Bulldogs proving far too good for Devonport to win by 45 points. To the ladder, and Launceston have a stranglehold on the minor premiership with Clarence, Burnie and North Hobart in the next bracket. Glenorchy and Lauderdale make up the 6, with North Launceston just a game outside, and the Bulldogs, Tigers and Magpies filling out the last 3 spots.
So there's our look around the country, Matty. Those conditions in Tassie, there's something that suit you. You ever get an offer from down there?
I didn't, and every time it rains, people would say, oh, your conditions, but I really hated playing and that sort of stuff, and maybe one weekend, but It'd just be like a holiday and then get out of there, I think. No offence to Tasmania, though. Great place.
Absolutely not. Let's go down to the boundary. Soda's 20 years of the Eagles to be celebrated next week.
It's gone pretty quickly, hasn't it? 20 years since Woodville and West Torrens have combined. Of course, they won that flag pretty early on in their history in '93. Well, what they did just recently was they released their best team of the past 20 years, and boy, there are some unbelievable names thrown up in there when you talk about guys in the early days like Scotty Morfitt and all those boys. Peter Schwarz, of course, who captained that '93 flag, all the way through to the more recent guys we've seen here on ABC TV like Gav Colville, Justin Cicolella, all those boys in the mix to be named in the Eagles' best team of 20 years. They did that. We had our ABC cameras there. So next week, for all the Eagles fans watching when we are at Woodville covering the Eagles, we're going to bring that to you, that story about that magnificent team of the first 20 years.
And one of the players who's been part of a premiership in those 20 years, Lee Treby, deciding this week, or to make official, shall we say, that he was going to go back to Victoria. Lee Treby played for the Eastern Rangers in the under-18 Victorian competition. When he didn't get picked up by an AFL club, he decided to come over here and try his luck. He's been a grand servant through some 200 or through some games, including a premiership and 2 state games, and there's the figure, 140 games for the Eagles. So he's been a great solid player for them.
A very important player, one that you had to always keep in mind when playing against him. He's a consistent performer, he's a hard worker, and 2 state games obviously tells you that he's a quality player in this comp.
Just 27 years of age, it seems like for family reasons he's decided to go back to Victoria. As I said, 140 games. Kicks a few goals as well, and most importantly for him, and I'm sure the Eagles, was a valued member of that 2006 premiership when they got over your lot.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, just a nice flashback in time here. Do I need to comment on this game? But no, I guess they've been starved of it, and this would have meant a lot to them. We've obviously dealt in some tough times, and it would have been pretty special, I think, for him and the team.
All the best for Lee Treby and the Eagles for what's left of season 2011, and they'll be hoping for similar scenes to that come grand final day. Well, I think the Tigers will be hoping for similar scenes to that come grand final day as well. The president, Gary Metcalf, is down at boundary level with Sodas.
Well, Gaz, welcome along to ABC TV. Now, we've got a bit of a shootout on our hands at the moment.
Yeah, Sturt have been really good. They've taken it up to us, and the blokes are really going to have to put a good effort in to get over the top, I think.
Now, Gary, for those people that read the local paper today would see there's an ad to coach your football club's gone in the sports section. Tell us about the process.
The process is there's been a subcommittee formed. They will meet, and obviously the ad goes out today, and then the candidates will come in. We'll shortlist that. That'll be put before the board, and then those shortlists will be interviewed, and then hopefully by the end of the season we'll have a decision so that we can go into the next year early and on top.
Where does the current caretaker, Chris Massey, fit into that equation?
Chris is obviously right in the mix. He's obviously doing the early interviews now, and I suppose, and what we've seen so far has been great. And he's going to be a candidate, and we're glad with that.
So you're pretty happy with the way he's travelling at the moment, the response you've seen from the boys?
Yeah, very happy with the way he's conducted himself and how he's taken things on and how the players have responded as well. It's been really good.
Another thing on the agenda here at Glenelg Footy Club has been the lights situation and the chance perhaps to play football here next year under lights. Where are we at with that?
We go to court the 23rd of this month. It'll be a 3 or 4 or 5 day process, and we're certainly hoping that things will go our way. We believe we've done everything right. We've got the right people representing us, so we're looking forward to getting the nod, hopefully, and moving on.
Does that mean perhaps there could be a chance we could see some football on a Good Friday?
Look, it's a real contentious issue, but I know that Richard Allen, when he was the Sturt president, him and I got together about 3 years ago, and we actually did present that to the league. At that time it was said no. I understand that it's still being discussed, and we certainly want to put our hands up.
Have you had the chance to perhaps canvass some of your supporters about that idea of Good Friday? Because as you mentioned, it is a little bit contentious with people.
No, we haven't as yet, but for us it's about us making a decision that's going to be the best thing for the football club.
And perhaps we've heard that, of course, been raised in the AFL before, but it looks like if it can go ahead, we'll see a bit of innovation coming out of the SANFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's the evolving door with football.
Now, Chris Massey, an innovative man, he had the boys out training until, 10:30 the other night. No complaints from the people around the ground about late night training and also the lights there.
No, I'd be wondering if that comes up in the court case, but no, he did have out a bit late. I should have had a chat with him and said, Mass, we're on a bit of a strict guidance here, but anyway, he's doing what he has to do.
Well, it hasn't affected the boys at the moment. What are they slotted through 12 goals, so they're going along okay?
No, all good, very happy, and all we got to do is win.
Gary Metcalf, thanks for joining us. Good luck for the rest of the afternoon.
Thanks, Otis. Thank you.
So there you go, Gary Metcalf. The idea, perhaps, of football on Good Friday here. I imagine they'll draw a crowd because they always seem to draw a big crowd.
I reckon they would. Look, if you haven't gone away, not a lot. I hope I don't upset any people, but not a lot to do on the Friday, so maybe football would be a good change.
So there's the view of the picturesque Brighton Road Oval, the Glenelg Oval, as we look through what's happened in the opening half in those wonderful conditions. 12 goals won, just almost close to perfect from the Tigers, but the Double Blues have been well in the game as we see 10 goals 5. So just an 8-point game at half-time, and plenty of goal kickers as well. Josh Trembath leading the way for the Bays with 3. Alex Grimer's popped up with a couple. Daniel Kirk, Rory Kirkby, and Tim McIntyre's had a day out with 5 first-half goals for the Double Blues. Amazing scoreline, amazing statistics which reflect that as well.
Stats probably evened up a little bit more that quarter. Glenelg still clearly on top with 106 kicks and 55 handballs, but obviously Sturt like to throw the ball around a lot with the handball, and you can see their stat on the handballs is up. Inside 50s, well, marks inside is pretty even, so look, there's not much in this game.
Let's have a look as the Bays break and get ready to go into position to start the second half. A quick look at scores from around the grounds, of which, of course, there's only the one other game this afternoon. The Eagles by 20 points over Central. Slutty have had, obviously, plenty of experience with Centrals. Talk of how they'll be going through a hard training cycle at the moment. Would that be the case? Does it really drain you when you come out on the ground?
I think it does. Well, you prepare and you don't use it as an excuse, but they work in a cycle, and it doesn't matter who you're playing or anything. They don't, unless maybe points were a real issue, but they do certainly work harder, and it is very taxing. It would affect the game, but they've always struggled out at Woodville too, so I don't know if that voodoo's got a bit to do with it.
Well, we'll keep you up to date whilst we're watching this match particularly closely. Here's Michael Maney with the second half.
Thank you, Neil, and 22 goals in that first half, just 6 behind, so tremendous to see. And I didn't see Ben Hansen take his place back out there. We might just go back to Mark. I think Mark said that Ben Hansen might be missing for the rest of the match, and he is a very important link in the chain down there, and a very good rebound defender. Haven't seen too much structurally that has happened. I think Daniel Kirk still on James McClay. The ruckman still in place. Wingard and Addington, it's been a good contest. Chris Curran been terrific back there for the Bays. Let's get it underway in the second half. Round 19 of SANFL football. Kurtz, before Cranston, got up a little early. Tenace's handball was chopped off. Thompson wants to get it to Kurtz. Neil goes in hard. Fully recovered from that knock, and I think it's a free kick against Thompson for too high on Neil. Gives it to Douglas. McMahon, the old 1-2, back to Douglas. And Kirk's on a long searching lead and gets out in front. He's played a lot of football down the back line as Daniel Kirk. That kick just overcooked a bit. Sheedy did pretty well. Thompson. And away they go through Martin. McIntyre, it's been his day. Takes the mark. He's a long way from goal. He won't get the journey here. He'll be looking for John Hinge, one would imagine. Hinge has got himself into space, and McIntyre missed him. He was free for a long period of time, John Hinge. He's still calling for it. And he's waiting, so Glenelg have been able to get numbers back, and then he gets the hurry up. Kicks high, Wunky's there. Seller knocks it down. Oh, Cabillo sells a bit of candy and kicks a goal. You don't see that very often. He's not known for his flair, is Josh Cabillo.
Oh, a class act there, though, didn't he? He seemed to know exactly what he was doing. He was about 3 steps ahead of the Glenelg defenders. Unfortunate there. John Hinge, he had a lot of time there. Maybe his lead a bit early, wasn't quite ready to kick, so missed it. But that would have been a great opportunity. But Cabillo, amazing skills there. Just the agility on that. Very classy.
Just Hinge got free because his opponent went to ground from Rudolph, but he got a good block. But just Cabillo, can you tell that he played rugby league a little bit in his youth? You can tell that sidestep was quite brilliant.
Yeah, it definitely hasn't done him any harm, has it? they just had him flat. He made them look flat-footed.
Sturt through Sheedy, get the centre break eventually. Plant. He just planted himself over the ball, put it into Cabillo's path, gave it to Hurley, down to the goal face. McIntyre won't get the bounce this time. Mark that down. We're early in the third term, gone 2 minutes, and Tim McIntyre finally has found the bounce. Does not go his way this afternoon. Just a quick look down at Ben Hansen. A knee, leg, thigh, everything heavily strapped and iced up, so you can guarantee that's the end of his afternoon. Leaves Sturt a man down. McIntyre, I think, was the player under that tackle of Curran.
Of course, he's just on all that ice that you did mention there. The biggest concern is just a corky, so nothing too serious, but he's gone for the day. Some stats from Glenelg's fitness guru, Andrew Modric. Kane Tenase has covered 6.8k in that first half, and Big Daniel Kirk 6k across the forward line.
Thanks, Mark. And how much have you covered down there in the boundary line?
215 metres.
That's it. That's about it. Here's a free kick going to James Seller. Dished it off to Curran, back to Mules. I think I've gone about 20 metres, Mark. Taken by Neil, then Ruwalt, the pirouette, and a free kick. And it'll come back to Ruwalt for a trip. Thanks, Neil. Mark Ruwalt. Bit maligned in this side. Kick wasn't the best and needed to be. Neil's got some work to do. Ruwalt attacks the footy and gets another free kick. And this time, not trusting his foot skills, decides to handball to Curran, and that's handy play by Rudolph. Did very well to Pinozzo, and then Pinozzo's handball was ordinary, and then Neil just gives it up to Martin, and then Martin's kick is partially smothered. Somebody do something. Here's McMahon. Will he? Yes, he does.
Now the Bays are away. Tenase wide. Kane's got some space ahead of him, and that's where he goes. Kane plays on immediately inside 50. It's set up for Kirkby. Couldn't get the hands to the ball, and that was too high. Kirk got one too high. Don't know if there was a lot in it. I think he just had his head in the right place, to be honest. And he'll take the free kick nearly at the top of the 10-metre square.
Their forward line looks pretty threatening, doesn't it? They look like they could just bomb in there. They've also got players like Trembath who can lead and take marks. They just seem like all they got to do is really get it in there, which they've probably struggled to do over parts of the last quarter.
Well, as we know, the statistics show that they can kick a score, but they find it hard to defend at the other end. So that's been the case this afternoon too against the bottom side. They've given up 11 goals thus far. Kirk comes in, slots home the goal, back to an 8-point margin.
Kirk, that's his third goal there, so he's played a pretty good role up forward. Just having that height in there, just getting those arms up, and then maybe a bit of a sloppy free kick there, but just can't afford to give them away. So close to goals.
Daniel Kirk, former Tasmanian. Just keep that one in, Neil, so we keep the Queensland-Tasmanian thing going.
I was worried about you when Slatey started saying, no, I would visit Tasmania but play one game and come back.
No, sometimes you just got to bite your tongue. No, I've got a lot of respect for an 8-time premiership player. You say whatever you like, Slatey.
No, you too can't. It's G-rated though, isn't it? So I'll keep it simple.
Good idea. That's the way. Here's Lions. Well, I understand exactly what you're talking about. Here's Ruwalt over the top. Mules ended up fishing it out to Kennedy. Adlington, haven't called him too much. Short kick is all right to Neil, who's been a busy player. Neil called to play on, then gets back to Kennedy, who kicks with that tongue hanging out. We'll come to see a lot of that in the AFL, I think. Here's McMahon, Kane. Kirk's in the middle of that pack and takes it. Well, he didn't have much of a run-up, but his vertical leap was enough to get him there.
He didn't need it, did he? I don't think he even timed his jump that well. But just a strong set of hands and just that height above the pack. This looks so threatening at the moment that they could just, all they've got to do is get that ball down there to him. And look, he's on a roll at the moment, so you'd want to give him as much supply as possible. And once again, getting it from a very, very gettable spot.
Daniel Kirk kicked the last goal for the Bays to take it out to 8 points, the lead. And from 25 directly in front, hammers that one through.
So even he moves out to now 4 goals, 1 for his tally. So creating a real problem for Sturt up in Glenelg's forward line there. So it's the premiership quarter, so Sturt would be looking to reply pretty quickly here. Otherwise, we could see a bit of a blowout starting to unfold.
Yeah, Mogridge, I'll question you. Daniel Kirk, you credited him with the first score for the Bays thing, did you? If he's got 4 goals, 1, is that right?
Yeah, you could argue it was rushed.
It was rushed, right, yes, because the Bays have kicked, obviously, 14 goals since they had that first behind.
Yep.
They've been on a roll, and now they're 14 points clear of the double blues in the middle. They get it out through Kane and then Tenace. And then Tenace wide. And that wasn't too badly done by the Sturt player in Bartlett, except it's fallen loose now to Kennedy. Kennedy shuffles it forward. Strong tackle made, but still released out by Douglas. And then they go forward again, and then off the ball there was a push. Wait on the umpire, he's seen something off the ball. And Wonky is the man who's down. And Wonky is not well on the ground. Just unsure of what the umpire ruled. Then he called for the ball, and I've got the impression maybe the umpire and Wonky clashed. Maybe that was the reason he called for the ball, but certainly there's a blood rule. And
lovely boots on.
James Wonky doesn't know exactly where he is at the moment. There's a blue. Well, we might take it that maybe Kirk was responsible for that, and it wasn't the umpire. We'll see what we've got. I'm sure the boys in the van are working hard to see what we've got, but certainly the Sturt players not happy with Kirk. And there's a developing situation down there, shall we say. So James Wonky is going to be taken off on a stretcher, and as if this match didn't have enough going for it, now we've got just a little bit of heat coming on as well. All bar John Hinge and Sam Rudolph are crowded inside the forward 50.
Behind the play, okay?
Although Wonky's gone down for Sturt, probably more unfortunate for Glenelg, I would have thought. They were getting on a bit of a roll then, so this could maybe slow things down and possibly work into Sturt's favour. So probably not great tactics at the moment.
So he wouldn't win a popularity contest at the moment, Daniel Kirk, would he? He's had quite a number of visitations.
Might have noticed, sorry, Michael, just on the edge of the screen there, James Seller went up, put his arm around Kirk and gave him a few ideas of what he should do. No doubt along the lines of forget about it, concentrate on the next ball. No doubt there's some Sturt players saying the same thing in the huddle over there, with the added proviso, if you get a chance, run through him. Would that be fair enough?
It's probably the case, more than likely. Yeah, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Geez, for those last couple of minutes, though, I think Sturt really chasing Glenelg around then. I don't think they've had their hands on a lot of footy. It just looks like they're trying to lay tackles, and usually that really wears a side out too. So, you know, this will give them a chance to probably recover a little bit as well, Sturt. They'd be pretty spent from the last 5 minutes of Glenelg just throwing the ball around.
Exactly right, Matthew's been 39 possessions to 12 this quarter.
So as we just a little bit of discussion and push and shove with Trembath and the Sturt captain and Jade Sheedy with boys in the van. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to find anything as to how Wonky came to be down behind play, happening just out of shot. So we can't shed any light on that, but obviously, reading between the lines, Daniel Kirk was the man who was blamed, shall we say, by the Sturt players. And the Sturt trainers taking every precaution, including, I think there's the club doctors out there as well as the head trainer Nick Swingler, who's very concerned about the neck of James Wonky. Let's have a look. This is just after the incident. In fact, that's Nick Swingler trying to hold up the big frame of James Wonky. And as you can clearly see, he couldn't do it.
It's not sunstroke, is it?
No.
That's a bit of blood on the left-hand side of his face, and what an ugly incident. I think we saw an incident, didn't we? Was it last year with Byron Murphy and Clint Alloway? It was ugly. That was down in the other pocket there. So there's James Wonky. It's always sad to see a good young player being carted off on a stretcher. You can see the blood streaming there from on his face. So That's not a good thing.
No, it's not. He didn't look too good there, just lying back. I guess the only positive to come from that is, as far as his neck goes, he was up walking around, which is usually a good sign. They probably wouldn't do that if he had a neck injury.
And as Stix Phillips always says, be the first person to put your head over the ball because you win a free kick after this.
Absolutely. Umpires, by the looks of things, have decided they will bounce the ball 25 out from goal. James Wonke going off the field. Ben Hansen also unavailable for the Double Blues. So they're down to one man on the bench. And they have been challenged in this quarter. 14 points the margin in favour of the Bays. That's going on 7 minutes we've had to wait while Wonke was taken off the ground.
Well, instead of Josh Trembath having a shot for goal, it's a ball up. And McClay can't get it out. Miles then fed it. Kirk a bit nervous at the moment and amongst a pack of players. High ball. Cabillo just pushes off with strength and fended off, but the umpire said you then had the ball held to you, so another ball up.
It's a new rule, isn't it? If you stick the arm out, you've got to get rid of it, I think.
Kirk in the ruck, knocked it down. Trembath, kick smothered. Agnew has just snuck it in for a behind, so Glenelg with their second behind of the afternoon. 14 goals, 2.
Hold it right there on the mark.
15 the margin. Double Blues need a goal now. Unsettled, no doubt, by the loss of Wonke. Anderson quickly on. Down the line, they go through Bartlett. Curran got to the front ahead of McIntyre. Sellers, the release man, out to the side. He's opted not to use him. Goes instead to Panozzo. Still the player available inside. This time it's Tenace. He's decided to ignore that, go deep. Looking for Kirk, big leap. Didn't get anywhere near the ball. Agnew near the boundary. Anderson's over the top of him. Agnew's dragged it in. What does the umpire think? He says, I'll have it for a ball up, 25 around from the Glenelg goal face. Cranston, third man up this time, knocks it towards the boundary ahead of Tenace.
Yes, and I think that the crowd are just very quiet at the moment, aren't they? They're just waiting for something to trigger off after Wonke's being carted off on a stretcher. Bartlett to an unsuspecting Hinge, who got it to Miles. Miles thought about going to the opposite side, then got it to Nielsen. Up goes Seller, so they'll pump it back inside 50. Seller's got options galore here. One of them's Kane. Kane's got a release now, and Kirk's in a bit of space. Well done by Nielsen to get a hand on it. Ruwalt, in goes Trembath. Ruwalt had it spent before he got it, and now we win another free kick. So that's the third free kick he's got in this quarter, I think, Mark Ruwalt. And it might be 25 against Luke Crane for just a little bit of chit-chat.
Not a good result for Sturt there. Is it 25 or 50?
Well,
he's taking him right to the goal centre here.
Extensive
pretty
bit of real
disappointing
estate.
there. You can see that Glenelg are pushing up and building that wall across the centre line, and Sturt players are getting sucked into their defensive 50 to get a touch, I guess. So, I mean, they're just creating a wall, and then as soon as Sturt kick it out, they're just outnumbering him at the moment. So maybe a sloppy free kick up forward there, and, you know, still a tough kick, but Luke Crane probably needs to be a bit more disciplined than that.
Mark Ruwalt gets his first goal of the afternoon, and Neil, with the goal-kicking yips that Mark Ruwalt has, he'd love him from there.
That and what was playing on is the other one. Playing on in the goal square. Well, the margin hasn't been this large since the 52nd mark of the second term, when a Kirkby goal put them out by 17 points, the Bays. So Sturt now with a job in front of them. As we said when they were here earlier this season, they got swamped in the last quarter, 10 goals to 1. Agnew was tackled by Thompson, turned it over Miles and Evans, and then Thompson, and then Agnew got him, and then he released it, and back the other way, Panozzo, quickly over the top for Douglas. Swept it out to Ruwalt, and that kick was pretty precise, and leading up Kirkby immediately turns on that left foot. Inside 50, and the big thump comes from Nielsen. Should be gathered by Crane. He missed it, and that's probably the difference between him and his Magarey medal year. Luke Crane, just that little fumble at a crucial time. 12 points the margin across at Woodville. The Eagles leading Central District. I think the margin at half-time was 20 points, so Central's on the way back.
Ruwalt, third man up. Kirkby just threw himself forward. McClay's there. Cranston arrives on the scene. Another ball up. Yes, that Central's at Woodville Oval. It's just been a bit of a sore point, hasn't it, over the years?
It has.
The Doggies?
I think they did get one earlier this year, but yeah, before that, it's been a few years since they've been victorious out there.
Generally not too good. Kane got it out nicely, and then Grimer gets a real ticky touchwood free kick against Evans. Well, what do you think, Slady?
Didn't look like there was much in it. He did take possession. He let go as soon as he did. I think that's a bit rough. I think Sturt need probably things to go in their way at the moment, and stuff like that's not going to help him, is it?
Frees were 11 each at half-time. It's now 18-11.
In favour of obviously Ian, in favour of
the other mob. Yes.
Look, I think that comes from them having more of the football. I guess they're gonna give them away if they haven't got it.
Yes, this one was a bit lucky. But, Grimer, he's booted. In my books, he's booted a couple. Here he goes. He's got to drag it back a bit, and I think he has. Good kick. Alex Grimer's got free, and it's out to a 27-point margin. And Sturt really need to find something right now.
They do. I think his brother would be envious of that kick, wasn't it? Straight, spun very nicely. Very confident too. He was well outside 50 then, wasn't he? So backed himself, good purchase, but very important for Glenelg to kick that goal, and crucial for Sturt that they're under the pump now. They weren't before.
Yeah, crucial for Sturt to kick the next one. Game high margin for the Bays, 27 points. Kurtz and Cranston, and the latter had the first touch on the ball and then followed up as he does. Hinge. Then he protected Martin, so he got the kick away. Mules pushed off his opponent. Clark took it. At half-back looks to clear. Through the corridor, they have some numbers. Adlington quickly to Douglas. He takes off. Cabillo's almost got him, just didn't have the legs. Beautiful delivery forward. And Ben Kane, with the lead and mark, will kick from 50 metres.
Just you can see the confidence from a player like that coming back from the AFL, just to take break and hit a target that cleanly.
Just out in front of him nicely, wasn't it? Sat up and Ben Kane took it. So Richard Tambling stands on the mark, some 45, maybe even 40 metres from goal, and Kane will kick, as I said, from about 50. Breaks into a trot. And 33 points up are the Tigers.
Once again, a good action, and Glenelg kicking really well at the moment. They're just technique and I guess knowing their range, and they're also getting the ball from great spots. So Kane there didn't look like an issue for him. Very confident going back and kicked it very well.
Ben Kane now the top ball getter on the ground. That was his 19th possession. Kane Tenace has had 18.
Some bad. Well, I was just going to say some bad news for the Double Blues. Word out of the change room for James Wunke is some pretty serious damage to his face, and his neck's not in real good nick either. So they've organised an ambulance. He's going to go off to hospital, get some precautionary x-rays on his face and neck.
Let's hope he's all right. Hurley overruns it. Miles kept it in front. Glenelg just pushing very hard. Sturt need the next. Crane, long kick by Luke Crane, is touched on the line. James Plant is beside himself. He couldn't quite see that one through on the Shepherd, but Ben Mules just got a fingertip on it. And a behind. It's 32 points, the difference.
Bays at the back, working pretty hard. And so is Evans. He got his man, he'll get a free kick. Surely. Oh. Let's have another look at Woodville. Scores a level. Centrals have well and truly back in that match. Gee, I wondered about Chris Curran not disposing of the ball then and trying to beat his player, but umpire called play on. Now Douglas bouncing his way out of defence. Alex Grimer the target. Puts it in front of him. Tambling shuts him down quickly. Grimer goes straight to the boundary. Surely that's a free kick, and it is. Alex Grimer says, what do you want me to do? Ball centred for Thompson. Flanked by Anderson, and then Cabillo. And with the 1-2, Anderson straightens, has a look at the goal face. goes long. It's 3-on-1 in favour of the Tigers, and they finally get it away from James Plant just.
Panozzo, some good evasive work, and he had it all to himself there, did James Plant. Then the short kick to the devil of the day in Kirk. Then to Panozzo. So they reload it from half back, and this man always involved, McMahon. Neil just looking downfield. So they all make a mad dash to the half-forward line. Ben Kane couldn't hold on to it. Jade Sheedy, Ian Mogridge. Jade mightn't have had too much of it today.
Ooh, you're dead right there, Michael. He's just had the 10 possessions, so it's pretty quiet for Jade.
Yes, he's... I recall him getting too involved.
I don't think they're running a tag on him either, so he'll be disappointed with that.
Yeah, just not got enough of the footy. In goes Cabillo, dishes off, Martin. Well done by Bartlett, squeezed it out to Hurley, then to Anderson, so they just need to hit a target. They can't. It was a 2-on-1 again. Here's Curran, dished it out looking for Mules. Mules' short little kick is okay, and Panozzo from halfback.
So they'll attack from the outer side again. Panozzo's kick was very good to Tenace. Looks corridor, as has been the Bay's way. When they get the opportunity, they're quick to play on. Long to the goal face. Well taken by Nielsen. Quickly off to Martin. Takes a bounce. Gets a Shepherd. Needed it. Got the kick away eventually for Kurtz. Below the knees, the ruckman works pretty well. Down the line for Hinge. Plant says, kick it to me. I'll lead short. Hinge gets the rousing cheers as an ex-Bay player would. And now Plant makes a good contest. McIntyre back to Wingard. Great vision. Execution left a bit to be desired. It comes back to Wingard off the right foot, and again the execution leaves a bit to be desired. Just rushed himself. He actually could have steadied a bit more.
He could have played the percentages, maybe straighten up. If not, if you're going to snap and you're under the pump, maybe try and swing it back to the top of the square. But look, would have been very handy for Sturt, that one.
Pause while the ball gets returned to Richie Douglas. Great recruit for the Bays. I think we'll only see him for the one match, though.
No doubt about that, Neil. He's a real star, Richard Douglas. Pretty much elite these days. Kicks out, looking for Kirk, who takes the mark, and on a full burst keeps going, but Cabillo did pretty well to hold him back. All done by Anderson. Fed it beautifully to Thompson. Thompson needs to hit a target. That's okay. Plant found himself in space to Tambling. Tambling changes direction, squeezes the kick out nicely, and finds Craig Evans right on the paint of 50. Getting back into the goal square is Kurtz, but Evans, like so many of them today, are going to back themselves from right on 50.
They do. And with good reason, because they're generally kicking them, aren't they?
They are. Craig Evans. Bit of a run-up, mind you. Here we go.
Too close to the man on the mark, I think, on that one. The drop was terrible.
Yeah. Lally was the man to take the mark. Ben Kane, as Ian Mogridge said, one of the most prolific, or if not the prolific ball getter in the game. Well done by Grimer. Just a good intercept. Getting back is Kirkby. Got some protection from Trembath too, and Kirkby gets the mark and/or free kick. He was in front, but Trembath's work off the ball was very good.
It was. He's had to go get his own footy there, which is going to enable Sturt to clog up their forward line.
Kirkby's kick, looking for Neil. Evans got in the way, but Neil did it well. Gets it back to Lyons. Lyons across the body, and it just fades away. Rewalt couldn't get there to take the mark. And Jared Lyons, have a look, I think he might have scored his first score for the day. A behind.
Double Blues quick to bring the ball back in. Thompson to Sheedy, rare possession. He got one back that he wasn't expecting. They almost turned it over. They do turn it over. So the Bay's working hard. Wingard slipped in a hand pass there. Thompson again and Miles and Nielsen. He puts it out on the foot. Good pressure coming across him as he tried to kick the ball. And as a result, the ball going out on the full. So Adlington, former Victorian, comes inside the field of play, called to play on. Not the greatest of kicks, floats up to the goal square. Double Blues get the release through McLeay and then Sheedy. And then Sheedy kicks it wide for McIntyre. He seems to pop up everywhere. Had a great first half, haven't seen much of him in this third term. And the Double Blues work through the corridor. Off the ball, Kurtz went down, so did his opponent Seller, so I think it might have been an accidental collision then. Meanwhile, Evans into open goal. Lovely finish. Beautiful finish inside 50 from Evans, and that was badly needed by the Double Blues. Yeah, maybe is just some hope for them.
There is this, well, small ground. Small ground, they obviously can kick goals quickly out here, but just the kick to Evans then was perfect. Just sat over the top so he could mark and run on. I don't think he even broke stride. So a great setup and, look, a much-needed goal.
I reckon he might have gone and tightened up his bootlaces after the last kick. You
think so. He needed to do something.
Certainly straightened himself up a bit. Amazing stat just looking at it here. Adam Thompson, 7 kicks, 15 handballs. So been a pretty handy player today.
Both he and Lockie Neal, Michael, in this quarter have had 1 kick and 9 handballs.
That's amazing, isn't it? Here's Kennedy. On the end of it was Kane, but couldn't grab it. Well done by Crane. Sheedy, left footer, just turns it over. Lally, nice little chip toward Tenace. Tenace just pulled the kick. Tambling attacked the footy. Well done. Miles did okay to Wingard. Wingard's had a bit of a dirty day, really. Martin looking for Anderson. Got too far under it. Adlington might have been a free kick. Hurley, and he's given away a free kick, has he? He has. And it's a little bit high. So the little chip kick finds Mules, and Mules cuts through the centre.
And he goes long. Not the greatest of kicks, but effective nonetheless. Trimbath had a bit of right to left fade on that ball, I think. For Trimbath. We'll just have another look at that kick. Well, it floated actually a little bit better than I thought. Just Trimbath content to stop the clock. Just pulled up the right sock. Benny Mules going to the bench after delivering that ball forward. Lead by 27 points. This to take it back to 33. Boy, he's a good kick. Here's a very good kick, a powerful kick, and much like one of your old teammates in Daniel Havelberg and how he strikes the ball.
It is, and it's a sign very, like, obviously it's a good routine that he's got, but just very strong and steady over the ball. He doesn't sway at all coming in. He just seems very, very still. But a good little sidestep in the middle there by Ben Mules, and then a good spot-up kick. So Trimbath, very important if they can get the ball out to him. Look, our set shot, you'd back him in from just about anywhere at the moment.
Now, what's happening down on the bench there, Mark? I think he's gone straight to the bench, hasn't he, Josh Trimbath? That happens a lot these days.
Just a little spell, yeah, he's all right, no worries. 4 goals by the name, going very nicely.
4 goals to Trimbath. Here's Kennedy. That left foot, I tell you what, when they turn on their left, they wrong foot you every single time. A nice mark taken by Wingard. Need a lift from him. Spots up Evans at half-back. Craig Evans, what's he got? I think he's got Anderson, who's gone forward. Decides to go to Tambling. Tambling thought of it short to Sheedy, and then makes everyone work hard. And the kick is chopped off by Agnew. Agnew to Adlington. Called to play on, came around on the mark. It's a fine line because they step one step around and they're playing on, and then the man on the mark, he can't do anything. Here's the Crane. Did well to win the footy and then kicks it forward, and the man running forward and taking the mark is Hurley in front of Lally. He just ducked out the back door, did Tom Hurley, read it well and got the spot up, and he'll have a look at a shot from around 40 metres.
Good pressure there by Crane in the middle to turn that football over, then spot up a quick 1-2 and then hit the target. He's been pretty quiet. Him and Sheedy, I think they would be looking to have a greater impact. And that's probably why they are in the situation that they are. But look, composure there and good delivery has got him another shot on goal.
So keep the Blues interested if you can get it. What a good kick off the boot. Just fades away. It'll be a boundary throw-in. They really need to kick those if they're going to stay in the contest. And just a bit of a missed kick. We've gone 31 minutes in this final term.
I don't think we're going to see 41 like the parade last night, but who knows. Ball thrown back into play. Grundy to the front with the tap down. Now Hinge pounced on the loose ball, and as has been his afternoon, it's been boiled lollies rather than chocolates for him. the Double Blues, young fans there.
Yes, hasn't been that much of a day for John Hinge, statistically, Ian.
Tried hard, 7 kicks, 6 handballs.
He's placed at both ends of the ground. Over the back, Martin. Now, they need another goal here, the Blues. Martin's left footer, and Grundy's in there, so too Martin can't take the mark. If they can snag a goal in the next couple of seconds, this will be their last chance before the siren blows, you would think. So 18-3 playing 12-7, so here's Grundy. See what Grundy can conjure here. The young man hasn't All-Australian this year's under-18 competition. Cabillo out the back to Neil. Thought he dropped it like a hot scone. The umpire said he was held on to without being in possession of it. Really sure about that. Jordan McMahon steers the left footer beautifully to Douglas, who didn't break stride. Running forward is Grimer. Now the kick waited for him, and Tambling read it beautifully. Can he keep it in? He does. Evans has got to get around Selva, but he dropped the footy. Then Agnew ducks the head, caught one high, got a free, went to Grimer. Grimer's handball to Curran, to his bootlaces. Brilliant crocodile tackle by rollover by McIntyre. Well done by Hinge. Hoists it high. Now Sheedy's got to keep his eye on it and go. No free kick against Kennedy. Sheedy did exceptionally well to get it to Anderson. Running out of time, the Blues. Siren imminent. Thompson goes to Grundy. He might just need to go back and have a shot here and not waste too much time, although he's got Plant and a few others in space. Grundy does the team thing and then lets himself down with a kick. It needed to have a bit more on it, and Rudolph took the mark.
Yeah, it needed 20 metres more of carry as Rudolph was standing in the corridor. Now Ben Kane wide out. Half-back right for Glenelg. Just takes his time. Can't be much left in this quarter, surely. 33 minutes. Remembering there was that delay when James Wonke was carried off the ground. Richard Douglas can't prevent the ball from going out of bounds. There's Richard Tambling with a bit of an ankle problem, it looks. Ben Hansen to his right. They've already got Wonke off the ground, and just saw there. Didn't look to be a lot in it for Tambling. Just another glance at it. Just a bit of instability in the foot, and that was about it. Meanwhile, what you've missed is the ball going forward another 30 metres towards the Sturt goal as we approach 34 minutes in this third term. 32 the margin. Double Blues. Long way back from now. And this was after they were down by 25 points in that opening quarter. And they managed to get back and actually get to the front a couple of times just close to half-time. Now they break from the back through McMahon. The Bays, great kick, finds Rudolph, and three-quarter time. The Bays are almost home, you would think. Richard Tambling on the bench, the third of the Double Blues players to go down injured. And at three-quarter time, 18-3, 111. Glenelg to Sturt, 12-7, 79.
They're not good signs for Sturt that quarter. I think with the injuries as well, I guess it's starting to take their toll. Small ground means you're going a lot of the time. The ball stays within the area or comes back in quickly. So they're going to be under pressure now for legs with so many injuries on the bench. Bad signs with Wonke going down, obviously permanently as well, and with serious issues, I think.
Three-quarter time at the Bay. It's Glenelg in charge by 32 points. So as we mentioned, Flatey, the job well and truly in front of the Double Blues if they're to get back into this match. They're bottom of the ladder. Now you wonder, 3 players down, what do they play for?
Well, at this stage, even before it got to this part of the game, they were playing for pride more than anything else. So, look, that's going to be, you know, when things start getting hard and you're probably thinking you're not going to play finals, does that take its toll? Do you drop the head? Do you take a bit off? I'm not sure.
Well, you wouldn't be sure because of all those premierships and grand finals you played. And it's hard to be sure what happens when you're not going to be playing in the finals. The Double Blues, certainly, Josh Cabillo, brilliant start to the second half by him.
It was. He was getting he's getting his hands on a few footballs, but and a really good goal there, just very evasive. But even he dropped out in the probably second half of that quarter, and like I said before, Sheedy and Crane too probably had less of an impact than Sturt would have really required in that quarter.
If you look through these, and he just joined us, if you look through these highlights, the most amazing thing is just the Bays kicking for goal. 18 goals, 3, incredible accuracy, and they have been very effective taking the ball forward. They have leaked a bit at the back, but they have certainly kicked a score to win.
They have. I guess they do push that back line up, and if you can get the ball over the top, as we've seen with Sturt, they've got a lot of space in their forward line, but they've struggled to get the ball there regularly. But yeah, they look really threatening up forward with their tall forwards and their ability to spot up targets with clean disposal, but also their kicking for goal has been almost immaculate.
We'll see there Sturt finishing off. They only added 2 goals, 2 in that quarter. As we see there, it was the Bays by 11 points at quarter time, 8 points at half time. So Sturt, a rarity for them. They actually won a quarter last week. Despite getting within 22 points of Centrals, they actually didn't win a quarter. And at 3/4 time, 32-point margin, definitely the Bays have put a gap in it to this stage. Through those goal kickers with Daniel Kirk with 4 and Josh Trembath with 4 leading the way for the Tigers. And for the Double Blues, Tim McIntyre with 5 and John Hinge with 2 against his old club. Quickly through those stats.
Well, stats starting to break away a bit. Look, Sturt still have the handball probably just on top there, but only because they do throw the ball around a lot. It didn't get them out of a lot of trouble that quarter. But the first 5 or so minutes saw a lot of Tigers throwing the ball around and Sturt just chasing, so that would explain a lot of the kicking that has pushed him ahead. But inside 50s probably doesn't really tell the story, I don't think.
You mentioned the Sturt handballs, least kicks, most handballs in the SANFL. James Wonke, this was what happened in that third quarter, as we see. He got hit off the play, and he was really struggling to stay on his feet. As you see, Nick Swingler, the head trainer at the Double Blues, struggling to maintain Wonke on his feet. He was carried off in a stretcher, and as we heard from Sodas, he has gone to hospital, have x-rays, and that is a bad sign. We hope he's okay. Well, down to Sodas, and speaking of hoping players are okay, we're going to talk, or rather we're going to talk to Ty Allen, who is certainly struggling with a dislocated finger. Ty, now you've had an operation on. Is this going to keep you out for the rest of the season? Is that the bottom line?
No, I should be back in 4 weeks, so hopefully the boys can make the finals and I'll be back for that.
Okay, so what was the damage? Just a dislocation, and in the end you've had to have surgery to repair a tendon?
Yeah, dislocated thumb, and it wasn't quite lining up, so had to go in there and whack a couple of pins in there to straighten it up, so it should be good in 4 weeks.
They've told you 4 weeks. How long before the plaster comes off? I imagine the pins are going to stay in there.
Yeah, the plaster comes off in 2 weeks and take the wires out in 2 weeks, so then I can hopefully do some ball skills.
I think Matt Slade here, Ty. Certainly missed a few of the contests we used to have, but does that mean you'll play with a guard for the rest of the year? Is that what you've got to do? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I presume so.
And Ty, talking about your season, the club season, there's been a bit of upheaval. We know about that. Run me through just how things have gone for you in terms of your season. Probably not one of your best.
Yeah, no, I sort of had my shoulder done at the start of the year. So it cost me sort of a few games there to really get back in the swing of things. I was sort of finding me form, and then at Port I'd done my thumb. So it's been unfortunate, but hopefully I can come back fresh for the finals.
Well, Ty, we'll just pause there. We'll go across and we'll get from Sodas is speaking to Luke Norman as he comes off the ground.
Well, Luke, just a quick one. Disappointing quarter there. A little bit of heat in the game now. Are you down to 0 on the bench?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of rotation, so we'll have to just do those changes on the ground. But I thought we were pretty ordinary for 10 minutes of that quarter, and I don't know with James Wonke going off on a stretcher whether that played a part, but our boys are focused this quarter and just want to start winning that hard ball.
You changed things up team-wise with the structure?
Yeah, we're trying to get something up forward, put Joey Anderson up forward and throw Luke Crane through the midfield and just see if we can get some spark.
Thanks for joining us, Leaky.
And thanks to Ty Allen, who's still with us. And Ty, look, this gives us an opportunity. We talked to the Double Blues coach there, but what about Chris Massey as a coach? Have you enjoyed his interim appointment, shall we say?
Yeah, no, it's been really good. He's given the boys lots of confidence to take the game on and just enjoy our footy. So that's what we've really been doing the last few weeks.
Well, I'm sure you'll enjoy your footy when you get back on the field. Good luck with the comeback, and good luck to the Bays. They're about to finish off this match. Here's Michael Maney with the final turn.
Thanks.
And for all those Bay supporters, it looks like he might be having another crack at one of those big bushy beards, Neil. And we know that he can do that. It looks like a woodcutter from in the bush somewhere. And but boy, oh boy, can he play football. Ty Allen exceptional player for the Bays, and they'll need him if they're going to have a successful finals campaign. Well, can Sturt get back on track? They trail by 32 points, and you would suggest that they'd need the first 2 or 3 goals. And it'll be interesting to see how Luke Norman does move his troops around in this quarter with no rotations on the bench. That is very difficult, not only in AFL football, but I tell you what, these boys do a lot of running in the SANFL and need their rest. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens there. I don't know what the hold-up is in the middle of the ground. There's a couple of kids just in front of the big scoreboard over there, and they don't want to get off the ground. And you're holding up proceedings, young fella. Well done. Jump the fence. Now the umpire's got the ball in hand. We're about to get underway in the final term. Angus Kurtz will be in the ruck against Trevor Cranston. They've been going at it all day. Here we go. They both got a piece of that. Ruwalt, kick was smothered. Who can get it out of there? Evans. Got a couple tackling him there. Got the arms free and got it to Sheedy. Bouncing ball. Plant went without it. Seller with strength. Fed it out. Cranston. Ruwalt. So here's the Bays running machine through Tenace. Out in front of Trembath. No free kick. Out in front of his eyes. Well done by Bartlett, who just pulled the kick looking for Evans. Evans had a bit of time. He'll turn on that left boot. Gets around. And then squeeze the kick to Anderson. So Tambling has kept on running. Inside was Sheedy, but Tambling's forced to go to the boundary. Right down the line and found McIntyre. Well, McIntyre can do no wrong today, so you're going to back him in, Slady? You're going to toss the coin?
I'm not 100%, but this is actually his hot spot. This is where he was kicking from as well. So, look, I don't think he can do it twice. It's a similar set shot that he had in the second.
The goals are as wide as you'd like here. Here's McIntyre. He's drawing that back. Tell me he's done it again. He's got clickety-click 6.
I have to thank him for making a fool of me there. That is amazing, isn't it?
Well, talk about a hot spot. I don't care where he kicks them from today. But he's kicked 2 very similar out there. And here's Evans doing some pretty good work and Tambling also.
Good follow-up, good delivery, clean disposal there. Look, they've led wide, which they probably wouldn't have wanted to do. I don't think he looked inside, so he's done the right thing there. But look, when you're kicking the way you are down there, why not have a go? And how important is that first goal for Sturt to keep their hopes alive in this game?
And surprisingly, Tim McIntyre, because of the day he's had, and also because there's nobody available fit on the bench, doesn't go to the bench having kicked the goal. And Slater, you are now a true commentator, because you have managed to curse a player, say he won't do something and then he does. You just got to get the opposite happening now, to say that he will and he won't. Here's Agnew at his feet, then Ruwalt slipped the ball out, not effectively. Kurtz quickly. Martin just had to hand pass it and he'll get a free kick. He was held on to its play on advantage. Miles, he went wide for Anderson. Anderson, falling backwards. How did he do that? Kurtz, over the top he goes. That was asking a lot for the big man, but it was effective. And Hurley was brave to take the mark in the face of the oncoming Curran. So you never know. His shot from 25 out.
An early roll will certainly play a big impact. But a young player there put his head over the ball, only had eyes at the footy, took the hit, which they're going to have to probably take a few hits here and be a little bit courageous to take this game.
Well, yeah, you know, technically, theoretically, whatever you want to call it, that Sturt are not going to run out the game as well as Glenelg, so they need to take their chances. Hurley away to the right, poor kick.
Come very close, all right? Thanks, mate.
I don't know. That was probably a better kick than his last shot at goal, and that was a pretty ordinary from Hurley. Well done by Mules. Didn't break stride, got it to Douglas. Now, Douglas, the old bounce didn't quite come back the way he wanted it to. Ruwalt knocked off the kick, and that was Lally, in fact. Tambling pretty well. Thompson couldn't get it. Now they go in through Lyons. Over the top. Plenty of Bays players here. Opportunity for Trembath. Kurtz just came casually in and grabbed it. And then to Martin. So on the rebound, it may be the double blues. Sheedy goes toward Hurley. Hurley. Another handball to Crane. Crane's chipping ball to Cabillo, who couldn't take the mark. Panozzo, this way, that. Did pretty well in the end. Got it away. Ends up with Lyons. Lions kick forward is good to Neil, and Neil's 47 out. He may go back and have a shot, as they all have today, from around this distance.
Kick only missed by a little bit there by Crane, but geez, it's probably going to be a costly error here. And once again, lining up, no worries about the distance, and another big run up too.
Lachie Neale had 13 possessions in the third quarter, just 2 kicks but 11 handballs. This is his 5th kick for the game, 17 handballs as well.
Been productive today. A little bit close to the man on the mark, but got a nice piece of the leather and right on the line. Well done by Angus Kurtz, who did time his jump that time.
He did. He's made up for the error they made in the, I think what was that, the second quarter. But Glenn, pretty accurate still. It looked like it was pretty much going through the middle if he had a bit more on it. Maybe Glenelg will do a fair bit of kicking for goal training at training. I suppose you can do whatever you want when it goes till 10:30 at night.
Double Blues waxing at the back. McClay, rare possession for him. Spreads it wide for Bartlett. So nothing down the line. He's going to have to consider going back defensive goal square. Finally, the lead-up comes from Plant. He goes to Plant opposed to Rudolph. It beats both of them towards the line. Plant just wanted to knock it forward. I think he wanted the boundary line. He didn't get it, so he had to follow up and take possession. He's pulled down by Mules, who did well, and Crane was in there with a socker, and now Kane throws himself forward, and the umpire says, unfooling me, we'll bounce it. So just in the background there to the left, bottom of screen, you can see Big Grundy waiting to come on the ground. So that's all Sturt have left on the bench. They are rotating their ruckman.
Balls to Douglas. Douglas kicks it long. It's a 2-on-1, and well done by Nielsen. Nielsen hasn't been too bad for them today. He's got long arms and has knocked the ball away effectively. Evans got a runner on the outer side in Thompson. Thompson's going to have to kick here, and he does. And he boots it down the line to McIntyre. And what do you reckon, Slade? You go the big barrel from here?
Why not? No, he didn't.
He went to Hinge. Hinge couldn't take the mark. Was back to pounce on it. Left foot snap. He's across the face. Grundy got the staggers, but the ball was way over his head and out of bounds on the floor. Shame on him, Tim McIntyre.
Yeah, well, he's probably rethinking it now. He knows better than to give off. Good strength by Johnny Hinge then to push off. Probably had more time after that to steady a little bit more.
Yeah, just kicked on the wobble, didn't he? He's just sort of wobbling about. Short kick by Douglas, and it's taken by the former Western Bulldog and Richmond Tiger in Jordan McMahon.
McMahon back to Douglas. Douglas wide on the other side of the ground to Panozzo, and then Sellers broken quickly for him, and he can go. And then he looks down to half forward, and the lead is made by Kirk. Nielsen goes with him, and Nielsen gets him under the ball legally, said the umpire. And back he goes, Thompson. And then he misses his target. Tambling was the man, and Tambling needed another 6 inches of height to be able to get near that ball. So just slightly defensive side of centre wing for the Double Blues. Grundy opposed to Cranston. Cranston batted it down to Agnew through the legs and the arms of his opponents. Forward, and Wingard with the tackle. I don't think the Double Blues are going to see a lot of him from what we hear. Chad Wingard will go to the AFL through the draft. I suppose they can hope that he gets picked up by Port or Adelaide as Ben Kane paddles the ball towards the boundary. Kennedy, another one who you would think might get drafted, feeds it back to Mules, and then Panozzo, and then McMahon, their preferred kicker from back there. Lovely. And he's non-preferred, if you don't mind, into the path of Rudolph. And then a nice kick for Lyons, who judged it well, going back on Martin. He's on 50. He looks inside to Tenace, and Tenace will be on 45, where the man stands on the mark.
That's the spot again. You can see how effective quick, clean movement is with McMahon starting that off with a perfect kick that didn't have to break stride again, and then just spotting up kick after kick there to get it in quickly.
Kane Tenace, 59 games of AFL football with Geelong. He'd be rather disappointed his sporting hero hasn't managed to make the cut at the USPGA. Tiger Woods. Let's see what his drive is like from just inside 50. It's pretty good, and it's there.
Not much watching that one either. But look, we've seen a few shots from that exact same spot, I reckon, today. And look, they're having a go at him every time, and they're either just getting over or just falling short. So accuracy has not been an issue at all, though, has it? So look, he was probably a metre or so close at that time, and that's probably what the difference was.
A couple of goals to Kane Tenace. Ian?
Also the 23 possessions, equal leader with Glenelg with Ben Kane. Adam Thompson with 26, though, leads all comers.
He's been good, Thompson. Although he doesn't get enough ball inside 50 and hurt you, Adam Thompson, does he? That's probably the only thing, but he's a good ball winner.
He is. All his stats are handballs, pretty much, you'll see. So sometimes goes unnoticed, but he's a hard ball getter.
Yeah, 10 and 16 today.
Yeah. Ruwalt couldn't collect it. Anderson. It ends up with Thompson right on cue. Another handball. Evans, non-preferred. Mills just ran straight past it. Seller is spun, dropped the footy. Umpire said play on. He was right there too. In goes Mills. Head down, backside up is Sam Miles. And it will be a ball up. There's Kane Tenace with the benefit of a rest after kicking that goal. Well, the crowd has died off a little bit. I think in expectation that the Bays will probably kick ahead and win this game. Well, more than the 5 goals, they're up now. Douglas's kick misses everybody, and it'll be a boundary throw-in.
And he's had 13 since half-time for 22 for the game, Richard Douglas.
So, Kane Tenace, you can see he's really struggling with that right hamstring. Ball over the back of the contest, ends up with Kennedy. High kick, oh, good mark by Wingard. Went early on Lyons, got a good leap. Now releases Kurtz. All right, when you'd think would prefer to hand pass, he doesn't, he kicks. And gee, that's a good take. Thompson sandwiched then. That was a good take. He got one around the head for his quarter. Umpire that, well, I thought he'd blown time off as the trainer came out, but instead he released the hand pass. Tambling down to half forward, well gathered by Anderson, and finishes the job very well. No, he doesn't. Just couldn't creep it inside the post.
Look very clean. Good roving there, but just, yeah, inches away.
The old, like you used to call it at school, the old Chinese burns. Used to get on the arms. You got that round the ears. Did Adam Thompson. Douglas with a bit of toe. He'll be back in the Crows lineup. Won't take him long, and then spreads the ball nicely to Seller. Had a man flanking him in Rudolph. He's got to use him now. Rudolph's got to get around a couple, and then missed the handball to Ruwalt. Taken by Miles. There's a man on his own, and that's McIntyre, and he'll kick goal number 7. What a day out for Tim McIntyre. Is it his birthday, Matthew? I don't know, but he's been everywhere today, and the Sturt faithful have really liked his game, and so too have we up here in the commentary box.
We have. Look, they haven't been easy goals either. He's been kicking them from all over the place. Like, that's the easiest one, clearly, that he's had. Just pushing back into the right position. But, I mean, all his other goals have been, you know, threading the eye of a needle.
He probably thinks, thank goodness I've got a soda.
He was due.
You're going to kick 7 goals. One of them surely is going to be a lay-down. So McIntyre with a performance of his career. Recruited from Corowa Rutherglen in New South Wales. Ball out of the middle again. Bays attacking strongly. Trembath with a good leap. And Grimer with a great rove. He'll need a good bounce, though. He doesn't get it. Kirkby opposed to McLeod, who just knocked it clear. Knew he had players in space running for him. And the double blues clear it all the way to Thompson on centre wing. Thompson forced to hold up, looked back through the corridor. Nobody available to his mind, so he just went long to Hinge, who was on his own at half forward. And he can go for the goal face. He ignored McIntyre's lead up. This ball will probably knock to the front, and McIntyre will end up with it. No, through for the minor score off Sheedy's hand.
Poor checking there by Glenelg to have Hinge have so much space while they had the ball, but probably just blazed and wasted that a little bit there, where he could have probably spotted something up if he waited.
This has been the problem for Glenelg. They drop out of games so often during the course of the year, and they've allowed Sturt to kick a couple of goals and get within 24 points of them. And they led for as much as 32 just a few moments ago and 33 in the third quarter. So here's Rudolph. They just need to run games out at this stage. Rudolph. And there's a turnover. Anderson who's not stopped trying all day. That kick hovers a bit, but Evans got it beautifully on. And here's Thompson, lines them up and drills the goal. They're back in it. We've got a game. It's 18 points the margin, and we've only just about to tick into 14 minutes of the final term.
Thompson getting a fair bit of it late as well. And good there to push up, receive, and a good finish. But as you said, Manny, he's just Glenelg just taking the foot off the accelerator maybe. And when you think about it, they're playing a bottom side, so they're going to need to do a lot more than this and run a game out come finals time, provided they can hang on for that long.
Yep, Thompson up to 30 possessions now.
It's the ball back in the middle. Question popped to the Bays after it looked like they got out to 32 points, so well and truly safe in this game. Now it's back to 18, and again, the Bays have leaked 100 points. Cabillo out of the middle. A clearance for the Double Blues. Long and high he goes. Kurtz makes a contest. Sheedy gathers it. Released it back to the big ruckman. Kick smothered by Rudolph. He did well. And now they gather the ball and come back the other way. Sheedy using his back to smother the ball. And in the end, Grundy with the tackle was good. And it was Neil who didn't know what to do with the ball. So Grundy just drops it wide, and the skipper, who's come into the game in the last 10 minutes, gets it back to Evans. He's a long left footer, quickly around. Plant was the target. At the front, Kirk dropped it. They still have some numbers, the Bays. Luwalt, and now the big ruckman. Kurtz with another chance, and again the ball was smothered off the boot for the minor score.
Sturt's intensity and work rate has picked up quite a bit over the last 5 or so minutes. Maybe they're looking for a bit of revenge after round 1.
Can you tell me who the side has not got any rotations at the minute?
That wouldn't be Sturt by any chance. No, I can't.
It looks exactly the opposite at the moment.
Maybe rotations mess up the balance. Who knows?
Maybe they do. You're old school, Matty. I can.
We rotated flat out.
Yes, he used to like to come off. Here's Miles. Hits the deck. I reckon in your career you wouldn't have liked to have been taken off all that much, but you just had to go with it, I suppose, didn't you?
Early days, I used to hate coming off, but by the end, I was actually almost putting my hand up and begging to come off, I think.
Well, Sturt are right in this game, and they need another one. That'll set the cat amongst the pigeons. Ball squared up nicely, but Panozzo took the bit between the teeth, and all he can see is grass out in front, and he decides to go for a long kick. And then Trembath on the end of it. Well played, Panozzo. Now the mad rush is to rush forward. Kirkby and McClay. So the kick is set up. Now Kirkby goes a little early over the back. Nielsen's got a bend. He couldn't bend. In goes Grimer over the top. Did he hold on to the ball? Umpire's hovering, and he's not going to pay a free kick. And we've seen that paid so often this year, where the umpire circles and then pays it against the man laying over the footy.
They said they were going to be hot on it at the start of the year too.
Michael, quite remarkably, Richard Tambling's gone back out onto the ground again.
Right, all strapped up and ready to go. Here's Tenace, dragged down by the foot, said the umpire, against Cabillo. And this could be a telling blow if the former Geelong star can kick a goal. Just a desperate effort by Cabillo in the end, and I think his hands just sort of sliding down and grabbed Kane Tenace by the boot.
He did. It was a bit tough. It didn't look like there was that much in it, but Tenace just got a hamstring rub, I think, and now it looks like he's cramping up too. No, maybe yeah, slipped down off the shorts to his ankle.
I think maybe that that stuff that they were rubbing into his legs wouldn't have helped Cabillo there.
No.
That was slider. Here's Tenace. It's a good-looking kick. He's missed. Kick was good-looking, but it's back out to 18 points. So Sturt have still got to kick 4 goals to win the match.
They do, and if you have a look at it, though, Sturt still have had more scoring shots. So they've played, they've been very competitive. So I wouldn't write them off just yet. Small ground, quick goals.
Oh, here they come. This could be the death knell for the Double Blues as the ball repelled and back to Grimer. He had a couple of options, but he said, no, I can go back and kick this. I'm not my brother, who has some troubles in front of goals.
And someone would say at one stage, Holly Grimer might have been a better shot for goal than Todd.
Harsh.
That's a bit harsh. Sorry, Todd, if you're watching.
You'd hope he'd be down in the crowd supporting,
I'd hope.
So you should be right.
I'll get out of the ground alive.
So Alex Grimer, having done the Matthew Lloyd, thrown the grass in the air and assessed what's in front of him.
Serious case of deja vu at the moment, isn't it? Having shots from this spot.
And it's way to the right, so the Double Blues retain some hope, although at 19 points, nearly 19 minutes into the final term. Of course, the Bays are the favourites. Sturt, as we know, are also down rotations because of players that are injured.
I wonder if Matthew Lloyd can patent that, and every time someone does it out on the ground, he gets a bit of a ching-ching. There's a nice mark to Ben Mules. He's always reliable, Mules. When games are up for grabs, he either kicks the clutch goal or takes the saving mark. And he kicks forward. In goes Kirkby. Well done by Hurley. Got it to Tambling, as Mark Soderstrom said, is strapped up and back out there, so they can rotate at least one player there, the Double Blues. Adlington on hands and knees. Kane just got a left foot on it, and then Douglas took a lovely mark. Just a little bit strong in the contest for Craig Evans. And Richard Douglas, with his class, ought to nail this one.
Just a bit of a push, was it? But obviously in his side. Oh, maybe. No, yeah, he was. He was just too strong. Outbodied him. But he's not a big man, Richard Douglas, but God, he's got some power in those legs, hasn't he? And he is very accurate.
Yes, that kick just going the bare 15 metres. Richard Douglas. Pretty productive day for him. Easily in the best players, though pros would like what they see. A little bit close to the man on the mark, but there's a goal. Draw the curtain on this game. Richard Douglas, he boots his first of the afternoon, and it's back out to 25 points, and that would be a nice relieving goal for the Bays.
I think you'd call that pretty much the nail in the coffin there, especially with that previous shot for goal, which got him a handy point too. But a handy in for Glenelg, Richard Douglas. They certainly would have been happy to see him come in.
Yes, Richard Douglas just showing all the class that he showed from when he first came into the Bays lineup, which I think was around 2006. And I remember that year that we were really stunned that when he got injured, how much went out of the Bays midfield, that a player could have that much impact at 18 years of age. Sturt go forward from the centre bounce. Curran picks it up, tackled immediately, surrenders it. Oh, and a wonderful kick by Crane. No angle to work with. Good enough to get it through for the goal.
You can see just the not a lot of celebration from there, so for Sturt fans you'd pretty much assume that they think that they're well and truly out of the race in this game, but nonetheless they're still having a go. Ball's gone down there and Crane's finished quite well there.
Pretty quiet one for Luke Crane today. Just 9 kicks, 6 handballs.
Yes, goal number 20 for the year for Luke Crane, so I think he booted 5 on one occasion. I think that might have been at Unley against the Eagles, perhaps. Not really quite sure about that, but I know he did boot 5 and kept them in the game all day. But, yep, not the best game from the 08 Magarey medalist.
Got 5 at the parade, Michael, against Norwood.
At the parade, it was too. Ian, thanks for that. James Seller, the pirouette, got away. Kennedy to Cranston. Away to McMahon. This is where they're so good, Glenelg. Out in front is Lyons. He'll wheel away on the right boot. He's got Kirkby in a bit of space. Decides to load it up now. Now Kirkby gets a run and he can't take them up. Well done, McClay. The back of the pack, then dished it off to Tambling. So Martin just fed it over to Sheed. He's got to get rid of it quickly and does. Tambling draws another man to Crane. So Crane can run and drills a pass down the line. And there's our man, Matty Slade, Tim McIntyre. Been our favourite today.
Yes.
And they're right on cue. Muffs the kick. Well done, Miles. Thought he dropped it. Umpire said play on. Hurley, hands and knees. Crane, how did he get through there? Fed it out nicely to Evans. Evans pulled the kick. There's McIntyre. I don't think he can raise a gallop at the moment, Tim McIntyre. In comes Cabillo. Lost it. Agnew couldn't grab it. They go in fierce for the footy. Agnew and Cabillo. Now, Cabillo just threw that on the ground, and it'll be a ball up. A lot of tired players out there at the moment at the 23-minute mark.
Those fans getting a closer look at the action.
Crossy, speaking of fans, 3,931 through the gate here at the Bay.
And as promised, Matty, they did come late.
They did. They flowed in right on the siren, basically.
Tanase overran it. Cabillo pushed off one. Quickly back to the left foot of Sheedy. Lovely kick. McIntyre a chance to kick his 8th.
Well,
an impressive IL. Look, this isn't his side, but the way he kicks, you think he's got a better angle to work with. So, look, he's obviously got a pretty good technique. I'm going to back him in so I can get rid of that thing you said before about how he'll stuff it up.
Commentators curse. He's kicked 7 straight this afternoon. Came into this match with a record of 9 goals, 20.
Oh, look at that.
Boy, he's found the place to kick this afternoon. And Matthew Slager, not a commentator yet.
It turns out I'm still a rookie. Fair enough, too. 8 goals. Impressive, though, isn't it?
In all that, though, the match is back to, what, a 13-point game?
Yeah, it's quite incredible. 13 points.
No, it's actually less than that. It's 9, according to what I had. Sorry, 11, according to what I had. But it says 13 on the board, so I'll believe you, Moggy.
There's definitely a big difference between 11 and 13, though, isn't there? You'd think they would have really pumped up after that goal if it was 11, but who knows?
Yeah, it could be 2 points difference as far as the ladder is concerned if they can get really close. Here's Kurtz. Did pretty well. Bartlett did nicely. Also Thompson to Crane. A late rush Sturt. Long kick by Crane. Or McIntyre couldn't take the mark. Cabillo was there. Dives on the football. Desperation. Not much time to get that ball out. All players, and it'll be a ball up. Ian.
If Sturt do lose, I'm sure they'll have a record number of inside 50s for a losing side. They had 58 to Glenelg's 45.
58. They just needed to be a little bit more productive. Grundy. Got it out, Anderson. This could be a miracle kick. He works his way through it. He kicked it out of bounds on the full. He was 5 metres out, Joe Anderson. Saw the big opening. Crowd can't believe it. That man there. And also, Joe Anderson, what were you doing? He's not happy about it. He's been a backman this year.
He's been actually pretty consistent too, so he will be disappointed there.
Got through. Did all the hard work.
Just couldn't finish it off. How's he dropped that on the foot? Just didn't really take a lot of care in the drop. Looked more like a talk.
So Rudolph with the free kick takes his time. Good experience. The Blaze have been given a fright now. Bartlett just hammers the ball forward. There's Anderson, and he took the mark. 30 out from goal.
Chance to redeem himself.
Well, he'll take his time.
We saw his reaction after the last one. So what would we expect if he misses this?
Well, he's only kicked the 1 goal in his SANFL career, which is extended out to his 17th game this afternoon. Played 17 games with Carlton in the AFL. Joe Anderson has slipped that through for a goal. And now it is a 7-point game, 26.5 minutes, final quarter. Oh dear. If you're a Bays fan, would you be nervous?
You would. Would there be a few Sturt fans that maybe got a phone call halfway down Anzac Highway and have turned the car around? I don't think they're going to make it back in time, but maybe they should have stuck around and the support might have got them up a bit earlier.
Well, remember round 1. They had to come here from 32 points behind. They've got within 7 right now. You think time is the enemy, though. 27 minutes gone, final term. It was only a long quarter in the third because of the James Wunke stretcher case. Kurtz gets it down. Neil can't get through. Kurtz did beautifully, got it to Evans. They're inside 50 again. Leading in the race is Curran, and McIntyre can't go with him. And Curran did pretty well. That might be the match-winning play. Kane to Douglas. Douglas will keep on running this. And then the short chipping ball, he got a push, did Richard Douglas. Advantage paid. Neil kicks it inside 50. Kirk and Kirkby. He may be the man to seal the deal for the Bays. Snout's louch went up also with Rory Kirkby. And if he kicks this, you think it's pretty much game over. And we've said that a couple of times.
We have. Either way, he's going to take his time, I reckon, on this kick and milk as much of the clock as he can. So, look, important nonetheless. Slow play. Still, you'd probably assume that he's going to kick this anyway. And I guess watch the heads drop and stir.
And he salutes Rory Kirkby. Well, he hasn't kicked many today. This is his third, but pretty crucial steadying goal in the context of this game, which has just ticked into 28 minutes.
It was important, just the tall guys again, that they've sort of were able to bomb there and still get the result. Having that big guy up there, I guess, is such an advantage. He's actually reached over the top there to take that, so height in your forward line certainly is important.
So it's been a game challenge by the Double Blues in this final term, but the Tigers will prevail. Kurtz got it out to Hinge, and then Martin, who didn't like what he saw, so he gave it back to Hinge, who said, no, I wish I didn't have that. So they've turned it over. Kane got it back to Lyons. Down the line he goes. Kennedy did well, got off his man in Wingard. Teammates in the state under-18s this season. Kennedy's kick for Kirkby was brilliant. Douglas is running on in the forward pocket if he sees him. He does, and he can't get there. Brilliant from Cubillo. He's had a great afternoon for the Double Blues. Combative till the end. He goes for Crane. Oh, gee, lazy and sloppy it's say, but able to pick the ball up. Siren goes, and Glenelg have survived a pretty tense few moments in this final turn, and they walk away with a huge score, 21-6, 132 to the Double Blues, 18-11, 119, 13 the final margin, and it could have been so much more for the Tigers.
It could have. Halfway through that quarter, it looked as if it was all over, and the crowd did start to drop away a bit. To Sturt's credit, they did actually fight back, and almost, or they were very threatening late in that quarter, but Glenelg just able to steady there and get the result, which they certainly need, maintaining fourth spot and keeping their finals hope and dragging a bit of momentum into the finals, keeping all that alive.
Well, they've got the Eagles next up, West Adelaide in round 21 and Port Adelaide in round 22, the Bays, and then round 23 a bye going into the finals. It's not the greatest of setups. Let's go down to the ground level. Mark Soderstrom has managed to corner one of the better players on the ground, certainly a real catalyst for the Bays, and that is Trevor Cranston playing game number 150.
Well, Trev, congratulations. You got there in the end in the milestone match.
Yeah, it was a tough one. It was a solid game. It was always going to be a solid game, I think. But we toughed it out, and yeah, I'm glad to get a win on the 150.
I thought you were, 5.5 goals up at three-quarter time. They would have just coasted in for the big Cranston day.
Oh, it would have been nice, but it doesn't often happen in footy, but the main thing is the win at the end of the day.
Now, of course, you're going up against young Grundy today, nearly half your age. I know you're only 31 years young, but might be quite strange staring a bloke down who's would have been, what, you're a little youngster when you were running around.
Yeah, it seems a bit ridiculous. He's a big boy. He's going to be a solid player, I think. And yeah, no, it was good to have it's experience for him and coming through.
In terms of consistency this year, Trev, it has been a little bit up and down for your side. Where is the problem with that?
I'm not 100% sure. I think maybe lack of confidence. We haven't really nailed one game yet. I think we need to sort of finish off a game right through and go through with confidence then.
Well, mate, you got there in the end, which is fantastic, and still sitting nicely in the 5. Congratulations on the 150, mate.
Thanks very much, ladies.
Trevor Cranston in game number 150 in his 8th year of football here at the Bay, having come from Springvale in the VFL. 31 years of age, the oldest player on the Glenelg list. And certainly Sturt has a very, very young list. There's no doubt about that. They lost a lot of experience, but it was a good performance. They didn't quite get the chocolates.
It was. They did. They had periods where they certainly controlled the football. They were damaging up forward in areas. Their movement was quite good. I think they had a couple of contributors that were pretty good, like Thompson, Sign, and Cubillo in areas, but they're other guys that they rely on through the midfield probably didn't give them enough to get them over the line today.
A few happy Bay supporters. The footy's being handed out by the players. A few signatures there. James Seller. You wonder what his future is with the Crows in the AFL, but he's certainly a Bay boy at heart. Former Australian volleyballer, in fact, at underage level. Let's just remind you of what went on this afternoon. Certainly the third quarter extended out, and that was because James Wunke was hit off the ball, suffered what appeared to be facial and perhaps neck injuries. We could see Nick Swingler, the Sturt head trainer, just trying to hold him up here without some success. And James Wunke went off on a stretcher, and ultimately there were concerns about both his neck and also his face. And so he's off to get some treatment at hospital, get some x-rays and just get to the bottom of the extent of the injuries that he's suffered. So that's James Wunke this afternoon. The Bays, though, were the winners, and Sturt very much finished the walking wounded with only 2 on the bench, and Richard Tambling, who really wasn't 100% out on the ground.
No, he did have an impact early. He dropped out of the game as well. But in a game like this where it is tight, I think you're going to need rotations to really get that boost going. And I think they gave pretty much all they had, but it just wasn't enough. And their rotations didn't help them out.
As we go through those quarter by quarters, it was the Bays by 11 points at quarter time, 8 at half time, 32 after a big third quarter, which featured 6 goals to 2. And then in the end, they just snuck home, you'd say, by 13 points after the Double Blues had got back within 7 in a mighty effort in that final term. Let's go through the goal kickers this afternoon. Down that list, Daniel Kirk, Josh Trembath with 4 each. Alex Grimer, you might have seen Todd Grimer out in the ground with his teammates then. Alex would have been telling him, this is how you kick straight, mate. 3 goals for him. McIntyre with 8. Yes, that's right. Tim McIntyre, the small forward for the Double Blues, kicking 8 goals this afternoon, only 10 between the rest of the team. So a mighty effort by McIntyre, a mighty effort by Trevor Cranston, a very big favourite here at the Bay, and being carried off the ground in game number 150. As we look through the statistics for the afternoon, the centre breaks, look at that, the Double Blues won the centre breaks. They haven't got a great record, the Tigers, in clearances.
No, and Sturt do have a good quality midfield. You know, and also inside 50s, you can see 60 for Sturt to 47. And, you know, they had more scoring shots in the end, but you've got to wonder if McIntyre didn't kick so many goals, what the scoreline would have been. But an incredible stat to have so many inside 50s.
SANFL low is their record in terms of clearances. Glenelg, let's go down to the rooms. Well, a traditional club song inside, while outside, a Tiger for Me from the early 80s plays out for the Bays. They were certainly tumultuous times, the early 80s for the Bays. They were very successful with a couple of premierships in the mid-80s. Let's have a look now at our goal of the day. There's no doubt about this. Is there Tim McIntyre? When you kick 8, one of them must have been special. And have a look at this, under pressure, on the boundary line, check side.
An impressive goal, isn't it? He actually could have put a highlights package together, could have rivaled just about all of them for goal of the day, but that there is an amazing kick.
14 kicks, 1 handball, 10 marks, and 8 goals straight for Tim McIntyre, who came into this game with a record across the season of 9 goals, 20. That's the seat in the rooms. And the mark of the day, let's have a look at Ben Kane, who had the mark of the day for our money. And certainly this is a lovely little setup there by Kirk.
Got it out early, didn't he? And he also got that jump and a little bit of a boost and full extension of the arm. A great mark in a great spot too, and finished with a goal.
It's Lee Matthews who says you can measure how good the mark is by the extension you get of your arms at the highest peak. And in that case, Ben Kane had the arms right out above the head. And of course, he kicked the goal, which you would do if you marked it straight out in front like that. Let's have a look at all the results thus far from round 19. Still 1 game to come tomorrow. Norwood last night over Westies by 15 points. Workmanlike, you'd say, from the Redlegs. The Bays just got it done this afternoon by 13, and Centrals, as they do, Slatey, relax, they just got it done again by 15 over the Eagles. Tomorrow, Port Adelaide takes on North Adelaide, and that could tell a very big tale of how the top 5 is going to finish this season, and we look forward to that match. It should be a beauty between Port Adelaide and Norwood. If you do get the chance, have a look at that tomorrow down at Alberton. Okay, let's talk about some of the things that have come out this week. Look, one thing we could tell you about Port Adelaide is they no longer have their reserves coach in place. Darren Mead, the premiership player, former Port Adelaide AFL player, has parted ways with the club. So don't know the full story on that, but very interesting that Darren Mead has left the club.
It is, and he obviously a favourite of the place. So, look, not good signs. We don't really know what happened, but you know, it's disappointing to see a play go, and for the young players that are playing in that reserves team to be disrupted.
Let's go forward and look for next week in round 20 of SANFL football. Starts on Friday night. Sturt against Port under lights at the Adelaide Oval. Should be a good match, that one. The Eagles against the Bays is our match of the day. Panthers taking on Westies, and North against Norwood on Saturday. Eagles against the Bays. Judging on what you've seen, Slatey, knowing that the Eagles ran Central's close, what do you think of that match next week?
Oh, look, Glenelg, definitely, they've got a lot to offer, and you know, if they can play a lot of like they played today, they might be a chance. But you know, home ground, Glenelg, you'd think you've got to back them in still at third spot. They'll hold on.
Tune in for that one next week. Thanks for your company this afternoon. The Bays got home over the Double Blues by just 13 points.